Yep. I saw him at Wallace, where I used to do the Plastic City Comic Con.
Oh, wow.
Back when they used to do concerts back in like the mid-90s.
My second ever concert was Foo Fighters at that venue at the Wallace Civic Center. Fun time to dust off an old story. I was in high school. I went to go see Foo Fighters that night.
Yeah.
Wallace Civic Center is a very small place. So we used to do that load-in, Keith, in the back.
Yeah.
After the concert, I went around back with my friends because we wanted to meet Dave Grohl and we wanted to meet Foo Fighters and we wanted to meet the drummer from Nirvana.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I left my parents out front waiting for me, who were picking me up on a school night. My angry Italian mom. So wait, let me rewind. We're waiting around back and it's getting late and we're waiting for Dave Grohl and the band and stuff. And finally, they came through, and I'm waiting in line for my autograph. And just as Dave Grohl's getting to me and he's signing my autograph, my mom comes fucking like a mad bull from around the back, from where the parking lot is, around to the back, and starts yelling at me in Italian in front of
with a rolling pin.
Like, pretty much, we're very we're very shy away from the rolling pin. All right. So I'm mortified because here I am getting reprimanded by my mom in front of Dave Grohl, and Dave Grohl very calmly and plainly just looks up at my mom and responds to her in Italian.
Mi dispiace tanto di aver tenuto tuo figlio fuori fino a tardi in un giorno feriale, ma grazie mille per averlo lasciato venire allo spettacolo.
I'm so sorry for keeping your son out late on a weeknight, but thank you very much for letting him come to the show. And I was in shock because he actually replied to her in her native tongue. And she was like, "Well, you better have it on a weekend next time." and she pulled me out of there. It was just wild.
Italian mothers, they don't give a shit about like celebrity, nothing.
So my mom yelled at Dave Grohl. And that's my story.
That's funny.
Hey comic fans, if you love action, adventure, and fun stories, well, I have something amazing to show you. It's the Mighty Mascots issue 10, and it's not just any issue, it's the triple-sized anniversary edition. Imagine 3 times the usual story. filled with all the crazy fun and epic mascot adventures that you love, plus 2 special backup stories that dive deeper into the Mascots universe. And here's the coolest part, you can get a set of 8 3D printed toys of the Mighty Mascots. These are perfect for any collector. These aren't just any collectibles, they're for the biggest fans. Help bring this epic story to life and get these awesome extras. Don't miss out, Mascot fans. Don't miss out, Mascot fans. Don't miss out, Mascot fans. Head to the link in bio and let's make the Mighty Mascot issue 10 unforgettable.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Indie Comics Relay. I'm your host, Keith Gleason, creator of the Mighty Mascots and promoter for the Plastic City Comic-Con. With me, as always, Johnny C., creator of Sartana the comic, Surrounded by Death and the Pond. For who, Johnny? Oh, you're on mute, Johnny. Got you on mute.
We'll my good again. Cousin Roger Johnny? Morocco, who's very much an advocate for my comic, The Pond.
Awesome. And our third co-host, Harry G., graphic artist extraordinaire. What's up, fellas?
Hey, everybody.
What's going on?
A couple weeks, but it feels like longer. I don't know. Does that feel the same way to you guys when we do that? When we're back on our normal schedule, or
no?
No.
Doesn't feel any
this
longer.
week it felt shorter.
Felt
you know
short
why?
today, I was like dreading it because I had so much going on with work and my hours. Like, go ahead.
We had such a long episode the last time we were live that it didn't feel like it was that long ago.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but guess what? We have another long episode signed up for tonight.
Well, we'll see. Like, if things start to peter off, we'll bring in guests and you know, I gave a certain time frame for everything, but if the conversation isn't there, we'll move on to other things. But
that being said, all of our guests tonight look pretty exciting with awesome projects, and so I'm really excited to dive into that.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it's going to be a good marathon night. One thing I wanted to like, before we even get into the guests, awesome news about, like, Harry, you don't even know about this.
Spaceballs too?
Yes. That is very awesome news.
Well, first of all, if you're going to bring Spaceball 2s up, I can't even believe Mel Brooks. Mel Brooks is going to direct the movie. The dude's like 98. That is insane.
Yeah, he's going to be
also, is he playing Yogurt too again?
Yogurt and again. Captain Scroob. And
I saw Bill Pullman and Lewis Pullman are going to be together in it.
They're both in?
Yeah, they're both in. That's what
first thing I said to my cousin when he sent me the text. I go, look, they better bring in Lewis Pullman, and it better be a riff on The Force Awakens, where Lewis Pullman is like falling to the dark side.
Yeah, that would be
right, and he's like the Kylo Ren. And that's what needs to happen. That's what I want to see happen. I hope so too. The teaser trailer they put out was pretty funny. It was just a teaser though. Like, it was just a teaser. At least they could have had like, Bill Pullman like in the jacket, something, Yeah, right.
And Rick Moranis is back too.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Like, he doesn't do anything anymore.
Back out of retirement to do this.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, that wasn't my announcement, but it is very cool, and I'm looking forward to that. But Harry, you don't even know this, and Johnny knows because I told him when we were at Lucky Pro the other night. But Global Comics, which is the leading digital comics app out there, they're starting a section on their app and on their website called a Watch, Global Comics Watch. And it's they have a curated group of YouTube channels that they're going to offer to all their subscribers. And Indie Comics Relay is one of 10 channels that's going to be on the app, which is so cool. Like,
cool.
Here, I'll show you the cool thing. They did a couple things. They did a news release, like a press release on their own, with all their own subscribers. And then they also did a press release with Comics Beat, which is they talk about the the watch feature here on Comics Beat, but then look, they list all the channels here, and look right there.
We are. Big shout out to all of our friends in Global Comics.
Right?
We were on board with them since day one.
There's only about 12 channels that are featured here, which is awesome. So great. we're part of the beginnings of this, which is so cool.
We're in the top 12.
It shows that our channel has credibility in that regard, right? And that we genuinely spotlight and feature creators, and it's not about promoting ourselves, even though we do a little bit of promoting ourselves in the process.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the watch section on Global Comics website. So if you click on it, you can just scroll through and you see all. And look at that. This is the last video I released on Friday.
Cool.
And it even does our live features too. Like there's this is the one that's happening right now tonight.
Awesome. Look at that.
Isn't that cool? Like,
if somebody's on Global Comics and scrolling and looking to see if there's something live, boom, right there.
Yeah, exactly. So really,
that's
really,
Spaceballs too.
Really kind of cool, huh?
That's happening now. Wait, not very Spaceballs too.
All of us. We're in an inception right now. But I thought that was really neat because
it's very cool.
The only thing I have to add is that if we're live now, they should have a little tag that shows live now.
Yeah, I don't know how that
would be
works.
Cool.
Like, I don't know if they're using some kind of
basic API. I'm sure it's probably a basic API call that's sending the video stream live in. Because okay, here's this channel. Whatever this channel puts out, it'll send it right over to that stream. It probably doesn't know how to recognize when a video is live streaming or if it's
so
just
what it
release.
Might do is it'll show this video again once it's completed tonight, probably. That's my guess.
Maybe.
Anyways,
maybe.
But nevertheless, very cool. Like
very cool.
Like I'll have to go through and check out the other channels that are listed there.
Well, I flipped through a little bit and it was really cool because it was a mix of, hey, like this featured indie book, or hey, this in comic history, or so like the whole thing in its totality feels very comic centric. Like almost I'm watching a cable channel dedicated to comics.
Yeah,
except it's more of like an on-demand selection process, right? The only thing they should do is now, like I said, do a live now or a live channel grid that you can now flip through and see different channels.
Kind of how like Pluto TV always has like or even not even them, but like
Tubi,
like Tubi or Shudder.
Yeah,
there's always like a channel running live that's
Correct.
running whatever live, and you can just hop into whatever it is. That would be cool if they did that. Be cool.
I think it's a little next level for what they need to do. But I'm sure as they build out Watch, I'm sure that will happen. But I mean, number one, honored to be part of the launch of that platform.
Yeah, right.
On the page.
Owe it all to you, Johnny, for meeting for like recognizing back when you first met them. How many years ago now?
So this was 2019, before the world shut down for COVID. We were at the last Comic-Con of the year, which would have been C2E2. And, they were promoting themselves with like literally like a piece of cardboard, and somebody had like, hey, make a comic and upload it now. Ask me how. Like that. And I was like, what's this all about? And so we linked up, and then we, cut a couple of drinks at the bar after, and they were like, hey, this is the platform we're launching. And at the time, not Global Comics,
Comixology.
Comics. I forgot their name. That's how irrelevant they are right now.
Yeah, right.
Comixology was the leader. And even my good friend Jeff Ryder was like, they'll never beat Comixology.
And look at them now. They are the number one.
Look at them now. That's my favorite I told you so that I like to throw at Jeff Ryder.
Yeah.
Jeff Ryder, awesome friend. Love the kid to death. But favorite.
You recognize the potential there.
I did.
Like, yeah.
The fact
when you told me about it, I was a little skeptical, but I was like, you know what? You were so excited about it that I was like, yeah, let's have these guys on. And
the difference was that I could see that they could put the creative control in the hands of the creator themselves.
Yep.
That was the key defining difference.
Yep.
You could manage, you could do more, you could see your analytics.
Yeah.
Where Comixology wouldn't give you that information.
Right. Yeah. You don't even know your page views on Comixology. Nothing.
I get a report every Monday saying who read what and how many pages.
Yep. I do
you know
too.
What I mean? And where they dropped off as they were reading.
Yep.
So I can now, in hindsight, see where my weak points are in storytelling.
And you get those recommendations from them every week, which is pretty cool. Like you get to see
100%.
different books, and it's a great. If you guys
they're
aren't on
very
Global
much a key
Comics,
part of the indie comics community, the whole comics community, at this point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Big shout out to Chris,
and they keep adding like the
and Eric.
Like adding the watch portion just keeps people. It's
engaged.
like that. What was I gonna say? Like like Facebook, like the whole goal of Facebook is to keep the user there
on the site
all day. Right. And that's what Global Comics is doing, and it makes sense. Like
the difference there is that their revenue is generated differently. They're not depending upon ads.
Yeah.
So in turn, that feels like a premium experience.
Yeah.
And having hung out with and talked to Chris and Eric for several times, for hours. They care about the creator more so than any other actual business I've ever seen.
Yeah, and the one thing they laid out too right away, like with this, when they were talking to me about having our channel on there, he's like, it's gonna cause you no extra work. It's and if you're monetized, it's not going to jeopardize anything. It's just going to be another place to put your videos. So
it's syndication for us, basically.
Yeah. Essentially, that's what it is, and I think that's so damn cool.
Absolutely,
and I love it. I love that we're on there and we're like with these other 11 channels that are so very
big
cool.
Shout
so
out to those
coming
guys.
Soon, we'll have we'll have a Global Comics little sting on the channel that we can. Play in front of the videos, any videos that I make, or any any of our intros, that kind of stuff. So that's going to be really fun.
Also, big shout out to Izzyverse NYC. He's one of the other channels that's on there, and much like us, he does a lot of talk on comics and wrestling.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so check out Izzyverse.
Great. I'll have to check out that channel. This is the sting, by the way. This is what we'll be adding to the show.
Yeah, let's run that real quick.
Right here.
How dope is that? I feel like that's the like at the beginning of an HBO broadcast.
Yeah.
Like it's like da na 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 na.
Yeah.
I just watched a video of like all you're growing up in the 80s, all those little stingers, like the more you know, like, all these like different like a whole bunch of like little like the paper that goes like I forget which one that was.
That
but
was
like
Stephen Cannell Productions, I think, or something.
Right, exactly. Right.
Before we bring in the guest, what's that? Go ahead.
No, the Citabu Sit.
Dr. Master, comics and wrestling. What else is there? Yeah, exactly.
That's
Speaking of wrestling, before we bring in the guest, though, Johnny, Amy finished cutting the promo we made with Alicia Edwards at Lucky Pro. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen the finished one. No.
It came out really good. It's 41 seconds. We'll play it right now.
Okay, let's
play
it
after
real quick.
that. We'll bring the guest in. What's that?
Sounds great.
All right, so here it is. This is what she put together. Which
I filmed this.
Good. Yeah, it's exactly. All right, here.
Do you want to know something? You can catch the Queen of the System and Eddie Edwards at the Plastic City Comic Con August 23rd in Leominster, Mass. You better catch us and come say hi. And you better trust the system.
Came out good, right?
That's so it came out very great. And it's even better is that she put the kids that were heckling the shit out of her in the frame of the video at the beginning. Those kids that you see screaming were heckling them so hard. The girls with Rachel went fucking deaf from the high-pitched screaming of these girls. It was amazing.
I love it. Yeah. No. Ira's saying good thing she pronounced lemons correctly. That's true. Yeah. That's a tough one.
It's because she's local. That's why she gets it.
Yeah, exactly.
In our dialects.
Definitely. No, it came out good, man. It was really good. I was like doing before we bring in the guest, I was looking into her husband. I was sending Amy video footage of old matches and stuff.
Yeah.
And you'll like this, Johnny. Eddie Edwards, he actually wrestled like Bobby Lashley, and he also wrestled Will Ospreay.
Oh, and TNA.
What's that? Yeah.
Yep. TNA, right?
Yep.
So right before Ospreay signed with AEW, he did this TNA pay-per-view, and all these fans, we were all so like, we thought he was definitely going to come to AEW. And then when he did that one TNA like pay-per-view, we're like, oh, he might actually go somewhere else. And we were, because he did all these forbidden doors, and he has all this like history with like Kenny and Okada. Like he would have been a perfect fit in AEW, and for him to go anywhere else, I personally felt like as a fan would have been a misstep. So that moment, that match, and I didn't know that was Eddie Edwards, so that's interesting.
Yeah, right.
Cool.
I was like, wow, this guy's the real deal.
Yeah,
I was like, that's cool, you know. So yeah, I'm looking
very cool that he works with his wife too. Like, right.
Yeah, so it's I want to go back and watch some of their matches so I get to know them a little more, you know, through their sport and everything.
Right.
But so we got a great show tonight for you guys, everybody. We got 3 great guests tonight. All new to the channel. I think Levi, who's our first guest, might have been on with JD. Remember when we did that promo episode where we were letting people come on and promote their stuff?
Oh,
I think they both came in on that episode and promoted the book that they're promoting tonight, which is one that I lettered. So,
okay, we might have to verify, double check that to see if that was the right one.
I think it was.
We have to fact check that. What were you going to say, Harry?
No, I was going to say, speaking of TNA, that's one of tonight's themes.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So without further ado, let's bring in our first guest tonight, Mr. Levi Skeen. What's up, Levi?
How's it going, guys?
Hey, how's it going, man?
How's it going,
man? Was I right on that, Levi? Were you? I know you and JD did. It might have been JD that came on the show that night.
Yes, just JD.
Okay, yeah. So this is literally your first time being on the show.
Correct. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And you are the artist on this project, correct?
Yep. I'm the artist on the project. Hey, going back to the wrestling thing.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite? Who's your guys' favorite Bullet Club leader?
I mean,
go ahead,
I
Johnny.
can say mine. Mine's always been Kenny.
Kenny, okay.
Yeah, when Kenny took over, because there was a little contention there, and then when Kenny left, he left it to basically either Jay White or Will Ospreay, and they had to fight it out.
Right.
But yeah, Kenny's my guy.
Gotcha.
I like Cody, but I don't even think was Cody ever actually a leader of the.
It was kind of like a 2-headed monster at that time.
Yeah. But he likes to say that he was.
Right.
But yeah,
when you say bullet, what was the term bullet
club? So Bullet Club was
what does that
faction.
mean?
Bullet Club is a faction in New Japan. So like the way there's a group, like Hurt Syndicate, right? It's a faction of wrestlers that was comprised of pretty much the Elite. So the Bucks, Hangman, Kenny, couple of guys who are actually over at WWE now.
Ballard.
Yeah.
So
Baylor.
I'm still learning all these terms because I'm like, so I was a big fan of wrestling in the 80s, and then I stopped watching like cold turkey. I didn't watch it anymore. And then about a year ago, Johnny took me to AEW, like a live match, and it was all over. I was back in. So over this last year, I've been just kind of learning everything, and I kind of getting the hang of it, everything and how it all flows now.
Yeah, half of it's learning how it operates nowadays, and then half of it's learning like the gap in history. Because there's even stuff I'm seeing now in the 20-year gap that I was absent as a fan that I'm like, where has this guy been, and what the hell is this all about? You know, there was some guy Sebastiano, I think his name was, but he's like this like Italian spoof comedy wrestler, and I watched like best of this guy.
Is he like a Max Caster or whatever?
A little bit, but it's just so funny. Like he was so talented.
Nice.
The Orange Cassidy got me to go back and look at some guys back in the 1950s. It was black and white video, you know, more of the comedy wrestling. Like it's like Orange Cassidy didn't invent it, you know. It's kind of It was a thing back then.
Is that back when they were wrestling bears?
Not far off. Not far off. It's funny that you say that, Levi, because I look back and you think of the strut and the woo and all that stuff, and you immediately think of Ric Flair, but no, it's actually Buddy Rogers. Yeah. And Buddy Rogers actually went by the name Nature Boy Buddy Rogers.
Yep. Oh wow.
Yeah, wrestling history for you guys.
Ric Flair took all that. Yeah.
Well,
I didn't know that.
Same as Hogan. He took on Billy Graham's thing, and Jesse Ventura. They came before him.
Yeah. He was even doing the whole brother thing, and he totally ripped off all of it.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. 100%. I didn't know you were a wrestling fan, Levi. That's cool.
Yeah. Well, I saw that drawing you did, Levi, of John Cena or something, holding a belt. He had like some weird arms going on. Like there was some kind of weird drawing that you did. You didn't do that?
No. Are you thinking of maybe I was on a draw stream where Addie Marie, she did
okay, that's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
Yeah, the whole John Cena, My Precious.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Right.
Yes. Nice. I love that. Well, to answer your question, I guess like my favorite right now in AEW probably is Ospreay. I really like Will Ospreay.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like every time he comes out, I'm like right there yelling Ospreay, you know, like he just gets you charged up, and I like got moves on that guy. Holy crap.
Unbelievable.
Him and like the luchadors,
he makes you care.
Amazing. Yeah, what's up?
Ospreay makes you care about what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
What were you going to say? Who are the other guys, Keith?
Oh, guys, and I always said luchadors, like the luchadors, like Hologram and Commander. I really like. I love watching that, like, just fun to watch wrestling where they just flip all over the place.
The PWG style.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very fun. I can't wait for the Mexico telecast this week. It's going to be so much fun.
I'm very old school, so I'm back. It's like Keith. I used to watch it back in the '80s, and I think I stopped for real around WrestleMania 3. So
once you saw Andre got slammed, you were good. You're like, I saw everything. I'm all set.
Right. Well, to be honest, so Hogan and him used to fight all the time, and Hogan slammed him several times. Not just that one time, And then
it's synonymous was that one, but
right. That was the passing of the baton.
WrestleMania 3 was actually they did because it wasn't simulcast back then. You had to either be in a bar with a satellite dish or pay-per-view, whatever it was, and our arena where they held rock concerts did the pay-per-view. You had to buy tickets at the arena to go watch WrestleMania 3.
Wow, that's awesome. I just remember renting the VHS all the time from the video store. You know,
I still have a copy actually.
Do you really? That's awesome. All right, so let's bring it back down to comics here.
Hook it back into comics.
Hook it back. So Levi, like, since you're a first timer on the show, one of the questions we always ask, we always love to know somebody's history with comics, but also, what was that like moment when you were reading comics or, watching a superhero movie or a cartoon or something? What was that moment that clicked with you and said, hey, I want to do this. I want to make comics, like, can you point back to a time in your life when you read something that just blew your mind so much that you had to be a part of this industry?
I've always kind of been artistic, as a young kid, just doing all sorts of stuff. So it really wasn't that moment of like, hey, I want to be a comic book artist until I was somewhere in my teenage years.
Yeah.
Other than that, I was just a big comic book fan. I'm the youngest of 6. So you get all the hand-me-downs. There's only one girl in the family. So I got, my hand-me-downs. I ended up with a stack of comic books from the brothers. The oldest one was 15 years older than me.
Okay.
So it was a ton of stuff like Sergeant Rock, Enemy Ace, The Unknown Soldier. I had no idea who Joe Kubert was, but I guess I was a huge fan.
Nice.
It was not all pretty much a lot of that stuff. So
I love those war stuff, but go ahead, Johnny.
I was just going to say, I'm thinking back and just hearing you talk about and reminiscing about going through those books and those hand-me-downs, Levi. It's like, I almost felt like, and this is even when I went through my dad's records when I was a kid. I'd look and it's the stuff that you didn't know about. Yes. Was almost the more interesting. You're like, what's Sergeant Rock? You don't know unless you know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Yep.
So good. So you grew up with a lot of war stuff, war comics, and
I did. Yeah,
that's cool. Like, I never had an appreciation for like Unknown Soldier and like Enemy Ace until later in life. Like, and seeing like modern interpretations of those characters, even like Black Hawk, But I love that stuff. I love that. Whenever they appeared in something and cartoon or whatever, I was like, yeah,
It's also a reflection of the era in which they were produced.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because of what was popular in pop culture at the time. Yeah.
Matt Man, who's come on the show as a guest host here a couple times, loves all that stuff. He has all like Sergeant Rock and Unknown Soldier and all that. I always thought the concept of the Unknown Soldier was just so freaking cool. This guy like wrapped up in bandages that just went around, and I always thought that was awesome.
Had great
idea.
Visuals.
Yeah, great visual. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Love to see that movie. Wouldn't that be an awesome movie now to like watch that and like, who is the Unknown Soldier? See it cool. Now. He's so good. So you grew up with mostly that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and so my dad was in the military, and I kind of had that career path in mind. So I was constantly, I was the little kid in fatigues and camouflage gear and playing G.I. Joe. And
nice.
I got the 12-inch hand-me-downs from my brothers before I.
Oh, nice. When it was just the guy, when he had the scruffy beard, I remember.
Yes.
Those. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So it was, but my mom used to send me on my bike down to the store on Sundays to get the Sunday paper. And the first time I actually started like, oh, wait a minute, like there's more than just what was handed down to me was G.I. Joe issue 27. And that was,
is that the silent one? The silent one?
That's 21.
21, okay.
27 is the one. It's the one where it's the Michael Golden cover where it's the subway train. And Snake Eyes are like falling out of it.
Yeah, falling out of the
yeah. I seen that and I was like, oh, like this is a comic book. Like, oh my goodness.
I miss. Can I just go on a side here? I miss covers like that. Like there was so much action. Like you made you want to grab the book. Now the covers are just pinups, they're just dull. Like they're not.
They don't have dynamic action like they used to, or at least not a lot of them do anymore.
No, they don't. And I'm actually. It's funny you say G.I. Joe. I'm rereading. I bought the Kickstarter of all the Marvel reprints. I gotta say, like I never paid much attention to Larry Hama's writing, but those are fucking great. If I can just swear real quick,
yes,
why not?
They're written in a way that comics are not written anymore. They're written in this like a soap opera kind of way, and like he sets stuff up, but then he won't go back to it until like 30 issues later, and like. It's just really well done. And the way he juggles all these characters and you'd always tell when he hated a G.I. Joe character because they'd show up once because of the Hasbro tie-in. And then you never see him again. It was so funny, so awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. So, and was that the one that clicked with you? But like, I gotta do this stuff.
Well, as far as like drawing comic books and stuff, no, it wasn't until so I married my high school sweetheart, and she was 14 and I was 15 at the time, and she's like, so like, what do you want to do when you grow up? And I was like, well, I'm gonna join the Marines. I want to be an MP, and I want to come out and be a police officer. And she kind of looked at me and she says, I don't think I'd be married to a cop. I was worried too much. and it was kind of it was like, because I had wanted nothing else since I was like 8.
Okay.
You know, and I'm like, well, I can kind of draw a little bit. You like comic books? And she's like, no, those are stupid.
Oh God, 2 for 2.
One or the other, babe. Yep. One or the
other. So you chose the lesser of the 2 evils.
I guess it's safer.
Safer, yeah, probably. Yeah.
It's way safer to draw comic books.
Right.
Yeah. It's amazing. What age did you know you could actually draw? Or was it something you knew like right away when you were little?
Probably like 4th, 5th, 6th grade, somewhere in that time. I was constantly drawing military battles. You know, the tanks and the soldiers and the flamethrowers and the airplanes coming in and stuff like that. So one of the things I liked as a kid was a book called Cartoons. So I was doing a lot of those the Rat Rod cartoons version. Got the big old tires and the knuckles hanging out of the sunroof with the shifter.
And, is that like those is it
Big Daddy
Rat Fink, like Rat Fink, those kind of drawings? Yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah. So cool. So you started drawing that kind of stuff, and
yeah. And
when did you attempt making a comic book? Like, did you?
Oh my goodness! The first comic book I made was a Dukes of Hazzard comic book.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was completely folded in half and stapled, and my dad.
I love that.
He threw it at me like a couple years back. I was like, "Holy crap!" Like he kept it. It was like I couldn't even spell anything, but it's like I was trying to make out the story, and it was like I couldn't spell bow even.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. I would love to read this.
Was Cletus and what's his name featured, and who else?
Cletus and Boss Hogg.
Boss Hogg. And Flash.
What's the mechanic's name?
Cooter. Yeah, that's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just remember the most monumental episode was the one where Bo and Luke fought each other. It was like one of those season finale kind of episodes or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, I hated when the cousins showed up.
Yeah, the cousins were awful.
That was terrible. Like,
they were pretty bad.
And they had a
good deep dive. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Harry.
No, I guess they rated the closets of their cousins because they wore the same exact clothes. Like what am I watching here?
Yeah, there's a good deep dive on the Secret Galaxy channel on Dukes of Hazzard where they break down everything and what happened there, why the cousins came in and all that stuff. It's really good.
Wasn't a writer's strike, but it was some sort of disagreement on contract.
It was something like I think John Snyder and was it Tom Wopat wanted more money because the show was like a phenomenal like ratings hit, and then it was the typical like the studios like, you're not the reason the show is good, so that's why they brought in 2 new actors to replace them, and of course that killed the show. And then when they brought them back again after that season, they never recovered because
sucks.
The studio just killed it.
Ever watched the cartoon? The Dukes of Hazzard.
I never watched it, but I didn't
even know there was one.
Oh, yeah.
I should have known. I should have known that there was one because there was a cartoon for everything in the 80s.
Everything. Yep. So that's really fun then. And then so I'm assuming like Galaxy Memorial Park is not your first like long book, right? Like you've done other comics before this one.
Yeah, I've done other comics. I've been published multiple times.
Cool.
I've done. So I was an assistant to a guy that worked for DC Comic Books for about 25 years. I didn't assist him for 25 years, but so I've done, assistant in inking for DC. I did one little tiny thing for Marvel. Did some Dark Horse stuff. Familiar with Andy Owens, the inker?
The name does sound familiar.
How about Scott McDaniel, the penciler?
Yeah, Scott McDaniel. He's like did a lot of Batman stuff, right?
Yep. Yeah. So Andy and Scott are they hold the record for being kicked off of the book by Jim Lee the most. Because they were the artist on Superman when Jim Lee came on, and they were the artist on Batman when Jim Lee came on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow.
So there was one time down in San Diego, Andy was like, goes up to Jim like, "Hey man, you cost me my job twice. How about a free sketch?" You know, he's like, all right, fine. You know, what do you want?
That's great. His artwork is great. Scott McDaniel's really good, solid art. You know, really like his stuff. So you worked for, you said for Andy, who did the inking for Scott. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So pretty much a lot of the stuff that Scott McDaniels did, and then the Dark Horse stuff we did was on with Josh Whedon with the Buffy the Vampire Slayer for season 8 or whatever the heck it was with
when he brought it back after the show ended. I remember that for Dark Horse. Yep.
So Georges Ginty was one of the artists on that. Cliff Richards was another. Carl Moline.
Both of those guys. I've seen some of their work. I think I even collected that Buffy run. So you were part of that? You worked on some of that? That's cool.
Some of my fill-ins and doing little buildings and windows in the background. And you know how Cliff Richards gets a bad rap with the whole Rippaverse thing and digital, you know, stuff. Back then, Cliff Richards didn't do digital. Like, there was a library scene, and he drew every goddamn book in the library. And Andy was like, I'm not inking this. Here you go.
Yeah.
All right. So it's like, okay, this book.
Yeah, that's a pitfall of like artists. Like sometimes, like when they get too detailed, like, and then the inkers could come in and be like, screw that. Or even like when a writer tells an artist, I want to see a crowd with thousands of people, and like the artist is like,
right. Yeah, fuck you, pal.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why you get a lot of like gray masks and, you know, those images. But go ahead, Johnny.
But I was just going to say, just like flipping through Galaxy Memorial Park, I mean, the backgrounds are gorgeous. You put a lot of effort and detail into these panels and these pages, and it shows.
Thank you.
And that's all traditional, right?
Yes, all traditional. Yep. Yeah. So in 2017, I had 3 strokes. So
oh my God. Wow. Are you all right now? Are you like?
Yeah.
Good.
Kind of, sort of. So there was 3 cerebellum infarctions in the cerebellum part of the brain. I lost my vestibular, which controls balance, and it's the fight or flight anxiety nerve.
Okay.
So I get dizzy, I get vertigo. So I'm medically disabled. So one of the things they did is they assigned me a physical therapist, and the one I needed was on maternity leave, and the one they gave me the wrong things to do. So I had my strokes in September. By December, I'm back in the emergency room again. I got a swollen brain.
Oh my God!
And actually, work your brain to the point where, like working out,
okay, that
it swells. Right. So he had me doing crossword searches and puzzle searches. And part of the thing with the vestibular is it recognizes patterns. Okay. So think of it like a McAfee virus is always running in the back of the computer, but now mine is clear up front. So I see all the patterns that exist. Like nothing fools me anymore. It's like, there's a pattern, there's a pattern, there's a pattern.
Wow.
So he had me doing this pattern search, and I'm like, I need to get better. So my brain swelled. And I didn't have an official diagnosis. And so I go back in again, and they're like, you broke your vestibular. So I was like, okay, so now I have a route for recovery. And one of the things that I had done in 2016 before the strokes, I quit the industry. I wasn't looking for any more work. I was happy, you know. So I wasn't doing any art at the time, and what went out real quickly was my art was the one thing that I could go back to that wouldn't cause my brain to swell again. So in 2018 I basically started drawing again.
That was like your comfortable muscle. Yes. That you were able to exercise, like, oh, this is a little muscle memory happening again. Yes. Wow. So the other thing I wanted to say is that from the damage or from what happened from your stroke, like Daredevil, you lost your sight, but all your, some other senses kind of, heightened, which is great. Now you could see pattern. I bet when like a contractor comes to your house, you don't get rooked like at all. Like when you're negotiating for a car, like Levi, like that's terrible. Amazing, man.
It's terrible.
You probably could win some money. Get you over to a casino or
kid.
Get you on a Press Your Luck or something. Like that movie that just came out that guy memorized the pattern of the board and stuff.
stock market trading graphs.
Yeah,
there you go.
God.
Yes, yeah, I haven't been doing the stock market, but crypto.
Dude, you might have a superpower, Levi.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you my crypto account, Levi.
XRP, XCN.
There you go.
Wow, that's amazing. I'm first of all, I'm glad you're okay, dude. That
yeah,
you know,
100%. Glad you're still walking with us, man.
Like having that many, like to survive that is like it's a testament. I'm glad you're here, man.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And the other thing I wanted to say is I like this book a lot. Like I think you guys I was saying to JD when he was on the show before, like it feels a lot like Astro City to me. If you ever read that book,
yep,
where it's you know, superheroes are part of it, but they're not like always the focus of the story. It's always how they affect people around them and things like that, which was Astro City like excelled at. But you guys have centered it around like a graveyard for superheroes, which I think is really interesting. And I love you know, I've only read the stuff that I lettered for you guys, but I love how like I don't know how it all kind of goes together yet. So you know, I love seeing like you had one story with some villains and another story about I forget the Captain America type character you have. Got his name. The Arrow, is it Arrow?
Arrow. US Arrow.
US Arrow. Yeah, like I love that storyline where he's just kind of there for a parade, and you know all this stuff is happening around. But yeah, no, it's really cool stuff, and I'm glad you guys brought this to life. What is like? Are you guys going to do like more of this? Is it like going to be an ongoing series, or?
It's 4 volumes. It's got a beginning and an end to it, and we're basically just tell the story. And then if enough people liked something about it, we would continue on with that. And so it's just basically it's the pitch on it is it's Galaxy Memorial Park is a memorial cemetery for superheroes from across the decades and around the world. It's the final resting place for those who gave their lives to save others. But superhero intrigue does not stop at the grave. Though the park is well protected, malicious minds are planning evil through the memories of heroes long gone. So
I love that, dude.
We've got the frontline story, and then we come in and we fill in the blanks with through flashbacks and stuff. And it started as a project for friends. You know, the idea is over 10 years old, predates the Strokes.
Okay.
And the idea was originally to have all the flashbacks handled by different artists, so that way it had that feel of trying to go and we even played around with the idea of an editor's note, like this happens in issue 37 of Silverbug.
Oh,
gotcha.
Yeah.
LCS to go find it. It would be as a joke, but we're like, nah, people might get mad at that.
But it helps create like this kind of backstory, like you guys have a whole universe and stuff. You know?
I'm sorry, go ahead. Well, I was wondering if the Memorial Park is on Earth or something, and also if there is a hero Memorial Park, is there also a villain one too somewhere?
Yes, there is.
Oh, there is. Okay.
So the park exists. We don't actually say it's in America or anything like that, but it's basically Central Park. Part of the idea is like you'd always see in Marvel, like Secret Wars, the arena showed up inside the park. The X-Men would always go fight inside the park. And nothing ever happened to the park. And I'm like, let's fucking blow up the park. So it's basically Central Park in New York City.
Oh, dude, I love it. That's great. So cool. Let me show the campaign too, because I want to make sure we highlight this. I know we're tight on time and guests tonight, so I just want to make sure we get a look at this. And how's your experience been with Fund My Comics? You still there?
Yeah, I had to. Yeah.
How's the experience been with Fund My Comics?
It's good. Yeah.
I've been, I want to try them at some point. I'm kind of waiting to see how they grow, and try and check them out, maybe in a future campaign in the next couple of years. But it looks like you guys had already hit your goal, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And you still got 60 days to go, 62 days to be.
We had 3 people come in and buy large quantities, and the third guy that showed up, he's like, look, I want to buy 10 copies, but I'm not paying shipping on those. And so we had to create the second tier. And
oh wow, okay.
Him, you know, and that one, it was that one's pretty cool because my original elevator pitch for this is Arlington Cemetery for superheroes.
Okay.
And you know, as long as we don't advertise Arlington Cemetery, it turns out they're pretty freaking cool with it. And so 10 copies of this are going to end up in Washington, D.C.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Very cool.
And the campaign you guys have been, I mean, and also good work on like the social media. Like I see like a post almost every day or every other day from you guys. You guys are working it, you know, which is all we can do, right? Like
that's all you can do.
Yeah, love JD. That X-Men. Love that X-Men inspired cover too. That's so cool.
Thanks,
yeah,
man.
right.
It's a love story to comic books. It's every cover I plan on having is a homage to something. Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man. That's really cool.
Yeah, good stuff, man. Thanks for also you and JD bringing me on to this book. It's been a lot of fun lettering it and trying to help you guys you know, make it look really good, you know, the final product and everything. I love this too. Like
that's an awesome shot. That's a
like your version of the Celestials kind of.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like New Gods or something like that. Like that.
Yes.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Love
I think
that.
in our book we're calling them the Storm Kings. And this
Storm Kings. I love that.
it's a flashback scene. Going back to the flashback scenes part of it where it was supposed to be friends involved and different people doing the stuff. In volume 1 here, I'm handling all the art. In volumes 2, 3, and 4, 2 is already complete, and 3 I've started inking. I'm on page 6 this morning, and
wow. Nice.
But volume 3 is 2/3 of the way penciled, and starting with volume 2, we go back to a fill-in artist for all the flashbacks. So volume 1 here is all me, and you're seeing like this is more flashbacks right here. Where the basics of the first chapter right there is Grandpa is a retired superhero. It's very much a military style story where you have grandfather served, son he served as well, and he passed away. You know, he was a superhero. He passes away. His wife and doesn't want the sons to be growing up in the footsteps of the grandfather and father, and so they're not even really supposed to be at the park. So Grandpa's bringing these kids to the park, and your first hint that something is wrong with the park is the fact that Grandpa loses one of the grandkids. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah, I do remember that.
So it's part of the thing with the park is like if Spider-Man passed away, he would want Mary Jane to be able to visit his memorial and not have to deal with the Green Goblin. So the park knows you by your fruits. So literally, like nothing is supposed to happen inside the park, and nothing evil is supposed to happen.
Okay.
So
kind of like what is that bar in the Marvel universe that's like supposed to be neutral territory for everybody, like stuff like that. Like
yes. Yeah.
Or like Highlander, there were certain areas they could
right.
They couldn't fight each other.
Going back to Harry's mention about the bad guy section of the park, the Redeemables, because there's always in the large conflicts, you have Magneto joining the side of the X-Men to fight the bigger bad. And we do have a section of the park that it's one of the stories that we definitely have in mind after these 4 volumes are done is a Halloween issue where we wanted somebody to stumble into that section of the park where it's the Irredeemables.
That's cool. That'd be cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to paste the link in the chat here. So
I love the idea of that because that section of the park inherently could be very spooky, not because it's intended to be, but here are all these villains and that's where they rest. But, you know, they may have done one good thing or 2 things, but they still did a lot of bad things.
I'm just picturing the
tension in and of itself.
I'm just picturing the Legion of Doom, like that weird fortress, that thing in the swamp, you know? Like,
right. Rising up out of the swamp.
Right.
All the seaweed on it.
Right.
Levi, what were you going to
say? We do have one villain that actually wanders the park, the Greensman. He's our poison ivy, man, and he's his wife, Poison Ivy, she passed away in the explosion as well, and he's been driven insane because he heard every single plant die in the explosion. So he just wanders the park as the caretaker and just making the plants grow and making this tree beautiful and
it's very
stuff
cool.
like that. So
very well thought out, like universe too. You know, like.
Well, you guys thought about over 100 different characters for this.
Yeah, if you follow these guys' social media on either Instagram or Twitter, they release every day. Like, there's like, here's this character, and I was like, wow, like I was blown away. I was like, I haven't seen this guy yet, but this is cool, you know.
That's a cool concept with that character, the caretaker. I can just envision a scene of some kid like ripping up grass because he's bored at like of the park, and he's just like sitting there snarling at the kid, just like,
or it gets re-whacked.
Right,
yeah, or it gets exactly. Also, but that also goes back to what I was saying at the beginning. Very Astro City, like that would be an Astro City story. You know, this former villain who is a caretaker now.
Right.
And why he's that, and then what happens to him, you know?
Yeah. And
very good stuff. Very cool stuff.
He's actually the second security system for the park. So yeah, the main system goes down, and then they go, okay, what about the greensman? And like the greensman's missing. So
very cool, man.
Yeah.
Can he control plants too with his mind or something?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Cool! Wow,
yeah,
that's cool. So I also saw that you're going to have 4 volumes, right? And then you'll do a 5th volume with all of them combined. Is that right?
Yes. So the fifth one would be just a combination of all 4 volumes into one collected volume. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. That's a great idea. Like, if you have all this content, why not? You know?
Yeah. Once the campaign is over, the book reverts to Critical Blast Publishing.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, we've had RJ on the show a couple times. Yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah, I've been meaning to look into his Critical Blast Publishing to see what the prices are. Maybe I'll do that for my next campaign. Just check it out, see how, because it's going to be a thick volume, right? It's going to be like
it's 68 pages.
Yeah, that's pretty thick.
Yeah. That's a pretty sizable book.
It is.
Yeah. 68 pages, $15.
4 pages more than my last issue of Mighty Mascots was, and that was pretty thick.
Yeah, that was a big one.
So that's pretty awesome. That's almost like a trade paperback size, you know, if you think about it.
Yeah.
3 issues combined is like what 60 something pages anyway. So yeah,
that's a bargain.
Yeah, really good. JD, so as we start to wrap up here, do you guys want to share out the Galaxy Memorial Park social media links and stuff? Do you want to shout them out for the audience?
Yes, let me I will go ahead and let me bring up the website here, copy and paste, and I will drop. You want me to drop it in the private chat, or
yeah, go ahead, and I'll grab them and I'll throw them in our comments section here.
And pretty much oh, come on, give that to me. Give it to me. Pretty much you can find all the social links off of, I don't know why this isn't.
If it's not working, that's all right.
I think I already got it. I was trying to double.
Would you say that anyone could just go look up Galaxy Memorial Park on any social media and they'll be able to find it?
Pretty much, yeah. Because it was, we definitely, it worked. Okay, so just go to GalaxyMemorialPark.com. It's got all of our socials.
Yeah, let me put that in there too. Hang on, let me grab that. Copy. I'll put that in the comments. Yeah, so check out their website. This has all their socials and news about the book and when you can get it, or new updates, things like that. Go ahead, Johnny.
I was just going to say, Levi, thank you for taking the time to come on the show. It was so great for you to share your story with everybody. I greatly appreciate you doing that. And I just going to say the book looks so awesome. It genuinely looks like a slice of indie comics. So I encourage everybody to go check out Fund My Comic. Check out that link. Check out the book.
And the black and white line drawings, they just give that extra indie look to it. Which is, I love that. It's like very 80s indie, I love that about it.
Totally.
It's a love letter.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Levi, well, thank you for coming on. And it was a pleasure to finally talk to you, man.
You too as well, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you guys are ready for the next volume, hit me up.
Please, definitely love to have you back.
Yes.
All right, and then also, hit me up for some time. Maybe we can get both you and JD on together next time, and we'll talk more.
He's Clark Kent, man. He's literally a roving reporter.
Is he really?
Oh, wow.
Yes. Yeah,
That's
so
cool,
awesome.
man.
Like right now, he is at the Cheney city council meeting, just sitting there watching the city councilmen talk about their stuff.
Oh,
Like
man.
he's like, dude,
I'd be
I would
bored out of
much
my
rather
mind.
be here.
Yeah, right. That's awesome.
Well, I'm glad you hanging out with us, Levi.
No
yeah,
kidding.
exactly.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, Levi, we're gonna let you go and move on to our next guest. But thanks again for coming on. Everybody, go check out Galaxy Memorial Park on Fund My Comics and help these guys out. If you love Astro City, if you love superhero books, you're gonna love this one. So go check it out and support these guys. Awesome, Levi. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Good luck.
Keep watching wrestling too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy, guys.
Awesome. Have a good one, man. So good, right? Guys?
What
Like,
a crazy inspirational story.
huh? I
To,
know,
to,
right?
to suffer all that medical help. Reminds me of Ben Taz. Remember Ben
Yeah,
came on the
right. Oh
show
my
and
God,
he couldn't even walk or do anything, and he fought and worked his way back. Such an inspirational story.
Some good notes too here, like Ryan. Hey, Ryan said impressive, Levi. We have Lowell Skeen saying hello. Yeah, so awesome.
Must be a relative. Same
Yeah,
last
must
name.
be.
Yeah,
A lot of
yeah,
people coming out. My Amy saying, "Holy crap, that's scary!" You know,
Yeah.
about his strokes, 3 strokes. That is effing
Lowell,
crazy, dude.
If you're a relative, I'm sure you're very, very proud of Levi.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and the book was fun to work on, lettering wise. You know,
It
like,
looks cool. It looks like
guys,
a cool
they
book.
were not hard to work with. You know, and everything was easy, and very little changes here and there. You know,
Sure.
So, yeah, so
That's
awesome. And I just also designed their logo as well, which came up pretty good. I thought, the Galaxy Memorial Park logo.
Mhm.
Oh, right. I think it looks great. It's
Yeah, it came out really
definitely
good.
dynamic,
Yeah. I wanted to do something to like kind of let you know it was like a graveyard thing, and so it was a lot of fun. All right, so moving on, I see our second guest is in the back room here. Another newbie to the show, which is good. And I believe he's a 10-year veteran of the television industry too. It's like
Cool,
This
nice.
should be interesting. Well, and looking through his book, I noticed structurally it felt a lot like a TV episode.
Did it really?
Yeah.
yeah.
So
I'm so disappointed I didn't have time to read it. Like I usually try to
read.
read.
I didn't read it in full detail. I kind of skimmed it and looked through it a little bit. But to that point, I was able to see and recognize format. It looked very procedural.
It looks like
nice.
Yeah.
Looks like a very special episode of Dawson's Creek.
Did it really?
I don't know if that's accurate.
Yeah, I don't think that's accurate. I think you're a little fake news there, man. All right, without further ado, let's bring in the second guest tonight, Shawn Mcbee. Hey, Shawn,
hey, gang.
what's up, man?
Hey, Shawn, how's it going?
Good to see you
man.
guys.
We're good. Yeah,
Thanks
good
for
to see
coming
you too, man. Yeah. So I don't know if you heard us talking while you were backstage.
I did. It's great that he called that out, because the comic itself isn't structured like a TV show, but I wanted our prologue to definitely be like that cold open that you get on procedurals. So you start with these 2 girls walking through the woods, and then they turn up dead, and like basically that just is the inciting event for the whole thing. It's like that opening scene of any episode of Supernatural, where you see these characters, you're like, okay, they're gonna die any minute now.
Yeah, right.
That's exactly. Shawn, I'm a huge fan of Supernatural. I watch it every day in syndication on TNT. That's exactly what I said to these guys backstage before we started the show. I'm like, this feels like an episode of Supernatural.
That's true. That's true. We can vouch for that.
Yeah.
With
cool,
the prologue,
man.
that's exactly what I was going for.
That's
what
awesome.
we were going for. Because it's not just me. I've got a co-writer, MJ, who couldn't be here because he's in Germany, and the time difference is just insane.
Oh, wow. How does that work with you? Like, do you guys? Is he always in Germany, or is he just there temporarily?
Yeah, no, he lives in Germany.
Okay. How does that work with you guys?
He's from Poland, but lives in Germany now, which is the same as our main character, Jan Westron.
Okay.
He's from Poland, lives in Germany. And it only works because of the internet. I mean, obviously, we couldn't have done this in 1994.
Yeah, right. So you guys get on
We
like
could have,
Zoom
it would have taken
calls and
forever.
work on it together, kind of. Is that how you guys do it?
Yeah, me and him,
Okay.
and we have a story editor named David Anderson, who's fantastic. He's here in the States as well. And so we just get together and we'll hash stuff out on a video call. We talk all the time on Discord, you know.
How did you find him, by the way?
He found me. It's
Okay.
because I worked in the film industry.
Yeah.
I worked on DC Stargirl
Oh,
for
nice. Yeah.
all 3
Yeah, I
seasons.
want to talk to you about that a little bit after.
Oh, I'm happy to talk about it. It's my favorite show of all time.
Nice. I loved it. I watched
was
all
a-
3 seasons. I thought it was great.
I was going to say that was a very well made show that took me by surprise because I went in with a low expectation, didn't read any of the Stargirl books, watched it. I was like, wow, you guys knocked that out of the park.
Yeah,
So
it's really
on
good
the first
stuff.
couple of seasons, I was the graphic designer.
Okay.
And in my role as that, I got to know Jeff Johns really well. And he handpicked me to be the guy that would be the keeper of lore for the show starting in season 3. So I spent season 3 analyzing and breaking down the show and all the scripts for all 3 seasons. And I wrote a 300-page story Bible for the writers to use in the future seasons that never happened. But
okay, so that's why it felt so abrupt. Like it felt like there should have been more. How many seasons were planned? Did you guys have? Were you just going to keep going?
There was a plan for season 4, and Jeff would have gone up to season 5, but he was very adamant that he wasn't going to go beyond that.
Okay,
he was going to cookie that
the plan
to go
was
back
to do
to Supernatural.
5 seasons. Okay. Yeah, like Supernatural, actually. Yeah.
Well, that's like your typical syndication, right? 5 seasons, right? That's your
Jeff
syndication
just
package.
doesn't feel like any show should go past 5 seasons.
That's fair.
That's
I would
fair.
say that's fair.
That's fair.
It is
Unlike
fair.
Supernatural.
Almost all shows really drop off after that 5th season.
I would say that's pretty accurate. Like, there's a couple that probably defy that, but overall, I think that's a safe number for shows.
Because I'd rather have 5 good seasons than like watered down episodes in between. You know what I mean? Like that don't really mean much. Yeah, I don't know. It's like just to get them through, like a Halloween episode or like whatever. Let's just get a good episode out there. You know.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Because Stargirl was 13 episode seasons, the storytelling was real clean. It was concise.
Yeah.
You didn't have those filler episodes that you got on the 22 episode CW shows.
Yep.
Right.
You didn't have one storyline just stretched out way too far beyond what it needed. And so the just because it was such a well-written show, that being the show that I was tasked to analyze and break down, like every single character arc per episode, per season, you know, every single thing that happened is cataloged in this Bible that I wrote. And in doing that, I saw patterns that I wouldn't have otherwise noticed or seen. And I got a real sense of how Jeff Johns and James Robinson, 2 of the greatest comic writers alive today, handle their stuff. And it was like...
It's like getting a lesson in writing from like 2 of the best comic book writers, right?
Yeah.
And
writers in general, I mean, you know.
And I also
How is James Robinson? Is he a nice guy? He's one I always wanted to meet at a convention because I feel like Starman was one of the most perfect runs of comics ever, like the entire run.
James is fantastic, and he's been a big help on Westron. He read our early drafts, gave notes.
Oh, no kidding! That's like incredibly generous of him. That's awesome.
Yeah, he's been really great. When I was doing the story Bible, it was him that I was like dealing with directly most of the time.
Okay.
And if he was too busy, then it was Mates Halshut, who is a writer on the Ghost Machine comics with Jeff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I love all those Ghost Machine books, and he's the writer on that new Hyde Street miniseries they're gonna do, right?
The
like
Devour thing. Yeah.
Yes, he did the Devour one shot, and there's a new one coming out called what is it called?
Maytal is a woman.
Oh, it's a woman. Okay, yeah. I couldn't tell by the name, but there's a new mini series coming out for Hyde Street that it's her and I think the same artist that worked on the Devour one shot. It's called like Sisterhood or something. It's like a 5-issue thing.
Yeah, something like that.
It's supposed to continue the story of the psychic woman that was on Hyde Street. I forget what her name was, but I love all.
Yeah, I haven't been.
I think Jeff Johns is one of the best comic.
I haven't been keeping up with what's coming out in the future on that stuff.
Oh, okay.
I just have it all on my pull list, and as it comes out,
and just pick it up.
I have all of the Ghost Machine stuff on my pull list. But
it's so good, man. It's the best stuff in comics right now.
Yeah, it's really great stuff. But James has really helped. Our initial idea for this was a series of 64-page prestige books, and he gave us the advice to take that down into individual issues.
Okay.
And we wanted to pitch to Dark Horse, and they've done a lot of his comics, and he was like, Dark Horse wants 4 issues to start. So make your first arc 4 issues. So we expanded out the 64-page thing into 96 pages. And all of that was because of James advising us. So he's been very generous, very helpful, and very supportive. Having James Robinson say to you, "You are a very good writer," is an ego boost that I can't describe.
Yeah, seriously, dude. That is a great compliment. If he's saying that, I would be on the moon, man, if that was me.
Oh yeah, he's said it multiple times, and every time I'm just like, thank you.
Just trying to keep the cool.
I gotta admit, I love that on the Stargirl show that you guys put the Mist in season 2 up. Freaking love that character. The Mist is so good. Like, and it's one of my favorite parts of the James Robinson run. What's that?
You mean the Shade?
The Shade. That's what I meant. I'm sorry. The Mist is the villain in Starman.
Yes.
Yeah, the Shade is what I meant. Sorry. But yeah, one of my favorite things that James Robinson added to that run was the Shade. So good. Such a great character.
I mean, to take a cheesy 1940s character with really no character to speak of,
right,
and turn him into
this.
One of the most engaging and complex in comics.
Yeah, love that.
Absolutely loved it.
Yeah, and I got nothing but praise for Stargirl. Like even my wife loved it, and and she was was a little eerie on it at the beginning, but then she ended up loving it too. So I'm glad you guys did it. I wish I got up to 5 seasons. I would have loved that, but
I mean, I would have been happy with even one more season. We actually shot 2 endings.
Oh wow!
Oh really?
For season 3, because we weren't sure where it was going, and it's basically the same ending scene. There's just lines of dialogue that cue up the next adventure, rather than what we got, which was sort of open-ended, like, hey, there's always an adventure.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's too bad. It was a good one. Go ahead, Johnny.
I was going to say, Shawn, if you don't mind, and you did a little bit, but if you maybe go a little bit more in detail, or maybe point to some specifics about how you feel like your work on Stargirl sets you up for Western.
Well, first of all, it introduced me to my co-writer, because I was so involved with Stargirl, and I did a podcast about Stargirl called Stargirl After Show.
Oh, cool.
And I interview cast and crew members on basically every episode.
Okay.
I've had the JSA in this room with me.
Wow,
nice, man.
That's
cool. Awesome. That's very cool.
Yeah, my desk was just right outside the conference room where they did the table reads on season 1. So I got to know like everybody in the cast. And so we're all like buddies.
That's cool.
Nice. So I've had Brack and Jeff and basically all the main characters except for Luke Wilson and Amy Smart on the show.
Oh, very cool,
awesome.
man.
Yeah,
Awesome.
that's
But
really cool.
Very
dude.
cool.
Because I was so publicly about Stargirl, these guys that did a DC Universe wiki kept reaching out to me and asking me questions, getting clarifications on things, because you know how wiki people are.
Yeah.
Yep.
The details. It's all of the details.
Wiki annoying.
Just single-mindedly obsessive about every little detail.
Yeah.
And they don't understand that some of those details don't exist because they haven't had to come up, and so no one's had to think about them yet.
Right.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. MJ was part of that DC wiki and got talking. He and I joined the wiki, hung out with them and stuff. And eventually, at some point, for reasons I'm still not clear on, he was like, "Hey, you want to write a comic book with me?" And I was like,
Cool.
"Yeah, sure, dude." And he'd already come up with like the basic premise, because it's all based on the Slavic lore and mythology that he grew up in.
Okay.
Like the stories he was being told as a kid. And it's just like the weird creatures and stuff of Eastern European mythology that you don't see in movies. We're not talking Draculas and Wolfmen and
Deep cuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
stuff
talking
you
like the
probably haven't
Goebbels
heard of.
vampire incident and stuff like that, like stuff that very little people know about, like unless you lived over there,
Yeah, and some of them are just really, really weird. And I insisted on adding some of my favorite really weird, like Scottish legends when I signed on, because I'm also like really into that shit. I wasn't so connected with the Polish stuff until hooking up with MJ, but I do love like weird like fairy legends of Wales and the Celtic stories and Scottish stuff.
That's a really good idea, though. Like, who needs to read more about your run-of-the-mill vampire? You can read about this creature that none of us are familiar with, because it's like a Slavic,
Yeah, learn something
creature.
about some culture,
Right.
Or think, wow, these guys are so creative for coming up with this thing.
Yeah.
Whichever way you want to handle that, I don't care.
That was one of the things that kept me attracted to Supernatural, is that they would deep dive, and that some of the creatures or the monster of the weeks would be based in actual mythology and lore, which I thought was really cool, because I felt I was getting a little bit of a history lesson and I was still getting entertained,
Yeah.
But I think that's great that you guys are kind of tapping in that same direction. The vibe and the look and the artwork of the book as well, like, gives off such an awesome tone. It seems like it really lends itself to the story. Could you talk a little bit more about that and the creative decisions you guys made there?
Yeah, we put out a wide call for artists. And unfortunately, when you do that, basically 70% of what you get is anime, like manga style.
Yeah.
Even if you specifically say, like, I'm not doing a manga, I don't want manga, guys, they're gonna send you manga anyway. So you just shove those aside, focus on everybody else. And, we just skipped right over lots of really great artists, because what we wanted was something creepy and unsettling. So every portfolio that we actually considered was creepy and unsettling stuff. We wanted people that were able to draw monsters and crazy creatures, but also we wanted just the normal people walking around stuff to have an uneasy feeling.
Nice.
And I think we nailed it with our selections.
Yeah, from what
absolutely.
I saw of it, looked great. Yeah.
Was it your decision to have two different artists working on this, for the one drawing the past or flashbacks and one drawing current stuff? Or
Yeah, that was a decision that we sort of came to organically, almost out of necessity, because Nicholas Nieto, our primary artist, him and one other guy who I won't name were sort of tied for our selection for being the artist. And because we wanted at the time to pitch to Image, we very narrowly selected the other guy because he had done a couple of books for Image. And that was it. That was the only deciding factor. It wasn't anything about talent or skill. It was just that. And unfortunately, we just found that he was unreliable. He wasn't, he would say, hey, I'll have these drawings for you on this day. And we'd wait until the next day to reach out. And he'd be like, yeah, 3 more days, man. Mm-hmm. And from the start, we wanted to be able to put out a comic on a regular basis and know that we were going to be able to parse it out like that.
Yeah.
We would love to be able to, now that it's down to a 24-page comic, we'd love to put it out every month if we can get that ball rolling. And with that kind of situation, we weren't going to. But we didn't want to get rid of him. So we thought, hey, let's do 2 artists. So we'll give this guy who's not delivering as quickly as we thought he could the flashback, the B story, which is less pages. And then we'll get our other guy who was equally as fantastic to do the main chunk. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if he was offended by that suggestion, by doing less pages or what, but he got even like less reliable.
Yeah.
And so Nicholas was great. We were loving what he was doing, but the other guy was just a big disappointment. So Nicholas hooked us up with his friend Mateus, who is our other artist, and could not be happier about him. Absolutely love his style, love how he works, his tempo, and going forward, having 2 artists like this, because the series is structured to have this main story flashback dichotomy.
Okay.
And the two stories sort of reflect each other. So the flashback is recalled because of events in the now. Something makes him think of that. There's connections between the two, but at the same time, the flashback story over the course of the entire series will sort of double back around to the beginning of this series and close the loop of his entire origin story.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I like that.
And so in doing 2 artists, if we get to the point where we can just continue cranking it, like we've got enough money flow to keep paying them, then we can produce a comic in 30 days and release on that schedule.
That's cool. I mean, that's a good goal to go for. Yeah,
that's very important too, in terms of keeping your reader hooked and keeping the machine moving in that regard. So that's great that you guys are conscious of that in your creative process and putting the book together.
I mean, I've backed a lot of comics, and there are some that I backed before I started writing this that I'm still waiting on.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So it's. I don't want to do that to people. Right. People expect a comic every month. I want to get to the point where we can give them a comic every month.
Right.
But I can't do it like the big guys do, because they are also not producing a comic every month. Your typical comic artist can do 20 pages a month.
Right.
So they have to do 6 issues up front in advance to make sure that they can keep up with it. And I don't have that kind of money.
Yeah, right. I mean, that no one does in the indie circles, really.
Yeah, artists are expensive, and I don't do that. Like, oh, hey, we'll split the profit. No, I'm paying my artists up front.
People. Yeah, if you do that option, I find that you don't get a lot of pages that way either.
The quality could vary too in that regard.
Yeah, exactly. All that's. Is this the first comic you've ever written, Shawn?
Yeah.
Is it really? Okay.
Wow.
like you said, you were a graphic artist. Like, were you also a writer before, or is this?
I've always written, in a sort of hobby way.
Okay.
Like I have another podcast called Table Reads, which started because I found a drawer of screenplays that me and my old writing partner had written. And I was like, oh my God, these are so bad. We should make a podcast where we read our screenplays and make fun of them. And so we did that. And then we started doing just other unreleased movies.
Oh, nice.
It's a very fun podcast. I'm sad.
What's the name of that in case someone wants to check it out?
It's called Table Reads.
Table Reads. That's great. That's
cool.
What a great idea
that one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I wish I was still doing it. I hate COVID kind of killed it.
I gotcha.
I hate
There's
to
like
mention
135
it again,
episodes out there, though.
That's a lot, actually.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Harry?
I was gonna say I hate to mention it, but Michael Rosenbaum has a podcast too where he goes back and Tom Welling, they play Superman. They go back and watch old Smallville episodes, and Rosenbaum never really watched any full episode ever. This is his first time through watching the old episodes, and anything that he hates, he's like he'll tear it apart. He's like, what? Like how? This is like crap, or he'll say it on air, like everything he hated, or especially anything that he wasn't in, he'll tear it apart, but things that he likes, he'll tell everybody what he liked about it, whatever. But he has like a rating system of the Rosenbaum rating system, and anything that was like horrible, he gives it a bomb, and a rose to things that he likes. So it's kind of funny. That reminds me of what you were talking about with your older scripts.
I like the idea of the Table Reads podcast. Just even me and myself, I kind of fell down a rabbit hole on YouTube where you look up like lost pilots or things that were never released, and I find that all fascinating. It's almost like alternate reality television that we never got.
Oh yeah,
it's good stuff.
It's a good idea.
I'm way into that.
Alternate reality TV.
Right.
Is there any other cool superhero shows that you worked on too in the past 10 years?
Well, I did a lot of work on Preacher.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
I worked on The Walking Dead.
Oh, cool.
It's not comics, but I did Star Trek Picard.
Okay.
I did the universally panned, but I will die on this hill defending it, Powerpuff pilot.
Oh, I heard about that. Yeah,
I saw the trailer
pilot,
of that.
Right?
That got leaked on somewhere online. I wanted to see that. That would have been cool.
It was going to be a great show, and I don't care what anybody says. It was going to be great. It was written by an Academy Award
What happened?
winner.
Did the studio just not greenlighted at the last minute, or?
The studio wanted to redo the pilot because they felt that something was off tonally. It was all the word we got. And then they lost Chloe Bennett. And then it just went on for a long time with no updates. And then it was killed.
I remember when Chloe Bennett dropped off, everybody speculated that she was going to be a part of like the MCU at that point. And that just never kind of materialized. But I was disappointed to see that it never happened, because even just looking in that small trailer that was released, Donald Faison looked like he was a great part of the cast. I loved how it was kind of like cheeky, like kind of paying homage to the original animated series, but also kind of making it its own and updating it and like adulting it a little bit.
It was really I think everyone that talks trash about it does it because they don't understand what the concept was. They think, oh, the cartoon, and now they're this, but that wasn't what it was at all.
Right.
It was really a commentary on how the objectification and exploitation of child stars wrecks them. And it posited a world in which the Powerpuff Girls were exploited children who were exploited for their powers and their fame and manipulated. And that cartoon existed for them in that world as marketing. So they were this it was this saccharine whitewashed version of them that never really existed, but was their public face kind of thing.
Oh, I like that concept actually.
Yeah. I think it was
it's
like,
not
what
bad.
if Power Pack grew up and they were all disgruntled? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it was a really good concept, and I say that as someone who has been a fan of the Powerpuff Girls since the original series was still airing.
Was the I forget who the creator was? Is it Craig McCracken?
Craig McCracken.
Was he like what did he think about it? Was he like on board with it?
I do not know.
Okay. He
Never heard
didn't
a
really
thing.
wasn't involved. Really.
I mean, see, the Cartoon Network didn't even like reach out to him
Tell him it was
when they
me
did
being
the
Nate.
2016 remake.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah, I mean I've heard of that happening too with a lot of other projects in Hollywood and stuff. That's too bad. It's too bad that
Yeah,
didn't.
it's kind of a shame.
You know. And
Yeah,
it,
I mean,
like,
I don't know that, Diablo Cody didn't reach out to him or whatever. Maybe she did.
you would just assume like a
but-
friendly phone call would at least happen, right?
Yeah,
Like, hey, we're gonna make
I
your
just
property.
am unaware of that.
Right. But you would just, I mean, like just common courtesy, I would think, but maybe that's lost in Hollywood. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's great because the thing is, I got into film because of my love for comics.
Yeah.
Like directly. I've been reading comics since 1989.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you guys can figure out what maybe kicked that off for me in 1989.
89.
But
Watchmen or Dark Knight?
89.
89.
Wow, you're losing a lot of cred right now, man.
I know. Those are the only
Batman, 89.
Okay.
Oh, well, yeah.
Oh,
Batman
the
89.
movie.
The
I was
movie,
thinking of a comic book. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was trying to think of a comic in '89 series. Of
Oh,
like
I
Teen
guess.
Titans.
Yeah, I was thinking like Watchmen and Dark
Yeah.
Knight were around that time.
Right.
Well,
But yeah, the Batman movie was prolific.
Yeah, the Batman movie was
pushed a lot of people to
I
comics.
I was 10, and so
perfect.
blew my
age
world
for it.
open. And when the Constantine show came out on NBC, I was a
Love
huge
that.
fan of it because I've always loved Constantine.
Me too. One of my favorite characters.
And I made, it's not in this room right now, but I made a prop replica from that and put it on Twitter. And the production designer for the show saw it and was impressed and eventually gave me my first job in the film industry.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
What was that? What was the first job?
It was a pilot for the show Quantico.
Oh, okay. No,
It was not a good show. It was about
Okay.
I remember that. It was she was
FBI
training
trainees.
Famous Indian actress at the time. I forget her name.
Priyanka Chopra.
That's the one. I remember that. I watched that when that was on.
So
Yeah.
what I wanted to ask you, Sean, like, so you said you're a graphic designer for these shows. What does that entail? Do you like create like, like objects for the background of the show, things like that? Is that what it is? Mostly?
Yeah, basically any kind of physical graphic. Flyers, newspapers, signs,
Gotcha.
props. I did a couple of police cars today. And bumper stickers, like basically anything that gets printed physically.
Go in the show.
That's the kind of thing I do. Costumes. I did
Nice.
patches for security guard today.
Oh, cool.
And
Stuff you don't think of
logos.
when you.
I love that
yeah.
job for The Walking Dead. There's like somebody specific that makes clothes like ripped and shredded and torn. Just that's their job. What a great job that is. Like to like. I would love to.
Those are called ager dyers.
Mm-hmm. Did you do any of that kind of work too, or?
No. I just sit at my little computer and do my little stuff.
No, I hear you. I've done that. That's my other job too. So
I don't know that you ever see any of my stuff in The Walking Dead because it's a goddamn zombie show. Like,
so your stuff was in the original show, not the spin-offs, right?
Correct.
Okay.
I only worked on part of season 8.
Oh, okay.
After Rick left,
Rick was still there. It was still good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you a fan of Robert Kirkman? You must be like.
Oh yeah. When I fell out of comics for several years.
Yeah.
After my mom stole my collection and sold it.
It's like everyone's story. How many stories have you heard?
That sounded very personal, though. That sounded personal. There's a little bit of like tone there.
Oh yeah, it's not like, oh, my mom sold them at a yard sale because she didn't know what they were worth.
No,
she knew that they were meaningful to me, and she stole them and sold them to my dealer.
Oh my god.
Damn, that's cold.
Yeah, and I was so mad at him for buying my collection. He's like, what was I gonna do? What was she gonna do? The only comic shop in town.
The
Mama
dealers
McBee,
have no scruples.
That's frigid.
But anyway, I fell out of comics for a long time, and my local comic shop got me into Powers, which was the first thing that got me reading comics again.
Yeah.
And then right after that, he got me into Invincible, and that was my introduction to Kirkman. And that was a long time ago now.
Yeah, no, Kirkman's great.
Invincible, what a great book of taking all the best qualities of Superman and Spider-Man and slamming it together into one story.
Yeah, right.
Love that book.
You know, I love superheroes. I'm reading them less and less, I find.
Yeah.
And I'm not interested in telling superhero stories because I feel like, my God, it's been so covered at this point. I don't know that I could come up with something that's going to be new and engaging. But holy God, did Invincible like walk that line and really nail that? Because so many of the characters are clearly just Xeroxes of other characters.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
He's populated this whole world with just Xeroxes and yet made it this wholly unique, amazing thing that also reinvents itself as it goes.
Yeah, right. And I was doubly impressed when I just read the first issue of Battle Beast, his new ongoing series, which is the character Michael Dorn played in the Invincible series. I won't spoil anything, but man, did he take something that I thought was going to be like, what is this just going to be, this guy fighting people every issue, but like give it a nice little, there's something to it, you know what I mean? Like there's more to it than the just Battle Beast fighting stuff, you know? So
it's got some charm.
There's a charm to it. And I like what he, I like that he took a character like that and he could tell a whole story with, so hopefully I recommend it to everybody out there. If you like Invincible, check it out.
Hopefully one day he'll manage to do something with Science Dog.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
that's the book he really wanted to make.
Yep. Yeah, I noticed in the cartoon he changed it to Seance Dog, so I imagine like
it's so that Amazon wouldn't have the rights to Science Dog.
Exactly. That's what I thought. I was like, he's holding that for something else, so that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
Love that.
To circle back around to Westron, I wanted to. And speaking of dog, and looking through some of the artwork, and Keith, I don't know if you want to pull up the page so we can all take a look at it here.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's a flavor in this book through the pages that you're showing that feels a little bit like Dylan Dog.
Oh yeah, Dylan Dog. That's a great.
And I wonder if that permeates a little bit through your collaborators' European roots.
I am not familiar with this Dylan Dog.
So Dylan Dog was a supernatural detective. They made a film called Cemetery Man with Rupert
Holmes
something or other. I forget the guy's name.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they made one with the
Rupert
guy
Everett?
that played Superman.
Rupert Everett, that's the one. Yeah. And it was very loosely based on Dylan Dog. And then they inevitably made a Dylan Dog movie starring Brandon Routh.
Interesting.
Yeah, but just looking at some of this, like the artwork, the tone.
It's funny you said that, Johnny.
I feel like this was walking a little bit of that line, almost like if I didn't know better, you'd be paying homage to it.
I'll have to check with MJ and see if he's familiar with Dylan Dog. I know that he is inspired by Constantine.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And so that's kind of adjacent. It's very close to Constantine, so I could see.
And there was
it's in the same vein.
There was about a year or two ago. There was a Batman Dylan Dog crossover, 3 issues by the Dylan Dog creator, And Constantine was actually one of the characters in the series too.
Oh, nice.
I think the
cool.
creator of Dylan Dog likes Constantine.
All our worlds are colliding right now.
Now,
But
our guy,
Johnny, I would never have put that together until you said that. But this soul looks like Dylan Dog.
Yeah, there's a vibe for sure.
There is a vibe there.
I love that. But I love that though. I think that's a selling point for me. Like that's a feature, not a bug.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I will say that our guy doesn't.
Sorry, Sean. Go on.
Our guy doesn't do magic, so he's not like Constantine. He's literally just like. I guess the easiest way to put it would be if Sherlock Holmes had to face the shit that Constantine would face if he was in Eastern Europe.
Kolchak the Night Stalker, except he was a reporter. I was gonna say, for somebody who's coming on board, I mean, it looks like you have a couple of cool tiers. Is there anything you could recommend for somebody?
Oh yeah, there's one tier that I would definitely recommend someone to get. It's the Fund All of Issue 2. It's $5,000. Definitely sign up for that one. You won't regret it.
Do you really have that tier here?
Oh yeah.
That's awesome. I assume they get a producer credit and all that good stuff, right?
Oh yeah. They get drawn into the cover for number 2. Huge producer credit, name bigger than ours. And that came about. It was like sort of a last minute decision because another comic that I funded that looked like it wasn't going to fund, they had a fund the whole thing tier for $7,500 that someone purchased on the last day of their campaign and kicked him over the edge.
Wow.
And the guy sent out an update like, "We're funded?" ? Because he wasn't sure if it was real. And he kept sending updates like, "We're still waiting to see if this big one is real and went through." And it did. It went through.
Oh my God. Wow.
So I was like, I mean, look, if someone's coming through, thinks this looks cool, and has poor impulse control and a lot of disposable income, I want to have a tier for them.
Sure, why not?
You know,
not a bad idea. I mean,
I don't expect that anyone will get it, but if someone was like, "Man, I sure wish I could give them thousands of dollars," and there's not an option to do it, I guess I'll just move on to the next thing. You know, who wants that?
I think that's great that you even thought to put, because most people wouldn't think somebody would do that. So it's awesome that you guys incorporated that into the campaign. Kudos to that. And it looks like you guys have some really cool extras. That bookmark is like extra. Like that's not just a casual bookmark. Like that thing looks real nice. You've got the red book, the red ledger. Look at that. Look at that. That's great.
Oh yeah,
I designed that and laser cut it myself.
Dude.
Very cool.
That's very cool.
Oh wow. What is that? Is it just paper? Is it?
It's a nice thick cardstock.
Oh, okay.
It's
cool, dude.
Awesome.
It's the third one I tried. My God, it's so hard to find a good thick cardstock. And then we have that same thing as a big 16-inch tall art piece in acrylic.
Oh, that's cool.
Dude. That's so cool. Like a wood carving or something like.
Yeah, I could do it as wood too, but I find that acrylic cuts easier and there's less charring to have to clean up.
Yeah, yeah.
And then a beautiful journal. I'm so happy with this.
Yeah, the red journal, the ledger, that's really cool.
Yeah, that is cool too.
I love that. The gold trim, all that looks real great. Yeah, make them big again, Keith. Look at that.
That is cool,
wow.
Dude. That's the detective
lined pages. Lined pages inside.
Yes, lined pages.
Oh, cool.
And it's not just random. Our story is actually being told from Jan Westron's red casebook, which is the one casebook where he writes down his accounts of all the cases that have the weird shit that he can't talk about in public.
Oh, that's so cool, dude. I like that.
I love when you can bring a piece of your comic to life.
Yeah,
right. That effectively here. That's so cool.
That's why I'm so excited about it, is because it's a thing from the comic.
From the book, yeah. I have a comic book called Surrounded by Death, The Flavors Mallrats Meets The Walking Dead. There's a coffee blend that's referenced in the book that I actually produce. So, and that's one of the things I love about it, is that's a piece of my book come to life. So I totally understand what you mean when you have this red ledger that's actually a piece of your work that you could hold in your hands. That's very cool, man.
Yeah. Also, that comic sounds awesome.
Oh, thanks, dude.
I say that as someone who was one of the, I don't know, 8 people in the country who saw Mallrats opening night in the theater.
Oh, did you? Oh, man. I
yeah.
missed it in theaters, but I saw it like immediately when it was on VHS.
I was already a huge Kevin Smith fan at that point. I had seen Clerks like 40 times.
Yeah. Clerks was revolutionary. When that came out, it's just like, it blew my mind. I was like, wow, somebody did this across 3 credit cards? You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
It's so cool.
Oh, and just to show you this, Sean, this is an image by Mike Mignola of Dylan Dog. These are
Mike
from
Mignola
like, old...
is my like pipe dream guest cover artist.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have loved Mike Mignola since Gotham and Gaslight came out back in
Oh yeah,
94 or whatever.
Old school.
Very cool.
Very
yeah,
cool.
I'm old, guys. I don't know if you noticed.
We're
in the same park. We're in the same
We're
ballpark.
in the same park. Just young. We just look young because we make comics, I guess. You know?
I just smoke a lot of weed. That's the problem.
Yeah. But yeah, no, this campaign looks awesome, Sean, and it looks like you guys already hit your goal, which is really good. So
yeah, hit the goal in 6 hours. But I have to say,
that's impressive, dude.
I have to say that's sort of our baby goal. That's not like the real goal. Because what we want to do is fund the art for issue 2 out of this.
Right.
And we're not at that point yet. That 1,000 was just like, that'll let us fulfill this. But then we have to figure out how to continue with number 2. Because again, I don't want to put something on Kickstarter if I haven't produced the art for it.
Sure.
You know, because I don't want people to have to wait all that time.
Yeah, I don't want to gamble with the future.
That's my rule of thumb too. Whenever I do a crowdfunding campaign, I try to have at least the cover and 3 pages completely done with lettering, just to show people I'm serious about making it. You know?
Yeah, I want to have the whole thing done, and we'll be able to get there. I think it's sort of gone a little stagnant at this point, which is normal at this point in a campaign.
14 days to go. Yeah. I mean, you'll probably pick up in the next, towards the last week there.
Yeah. So I think we may be able to get to the point where we can get up enough funds that we can get our guys working on issue 2. Nice. So that then we can launch that campaign to fund issue 3
and keep it going.
Keep it going.
Yeah. Keep that.
Now, I was going to ask you, is MJ Entertainment in the chat? Is that your artist? Because he's saying, never heard of that character. I guess referring to Dylan Dog.
Oh yeah, that is MJ.
Yeah, right here. He goes, Constantine is definitely an inspiration for sure. Yeah, so it's kind of like he's on the show.
Yeah.
MJ, thanks for hanging out in the chat, man. That's really cool that you're participating.
Yeah, he said never saw. He's the co-writer. Never saw Dylan Dog in my life. Now I'm the co-writer. Okay,
right on, man.
Yeah, hey,
thanks for being here, dude.
It's a love. I think it's a great thing to be compared to. It's a great property. It's one of the biggest comics in Italy, I think, or something like that.
It's a very popular Italian character.
It's a
when you're talking about characters that originated in Italy. It's Dylan Dog or Diabolique. Those are 2 of the big ones.
Are you
nice? I'm gonna definitely check
that out. Are you a fan of true crime shows? Because it's very true crime-ish too, a little bit. It's only with monsters that we don't know about.
Yeah, I mean, they could be true. We don't know. Mm-hmm. Those legends came from somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Well, right. I mean, sure.
I like some true crime stuff, but I find that it's more fun when you can make it up.
Right, but because also whenever I'm having a bad day, I just like to turn it on the ID channel, and it makes me happy.
So much better.
Well, like I listened to the podcast Up and Vanished, right? And in the first season, they find the killers, and it's like, wow, that's great. And in the second season, it just sort of fizzles out, and he doesn't find anything out, and it's all confusing. Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's the problem with true crime. Sometimes you don't solve it.
Yeah.
just like that movie, The Strangers. Creepy.
Love that movie.
Right, because it's like based on a true story, kind of. I don't know. Never found the people that did the
well. I think I've mentioned that to you, Harry, before. All it's based on is the part about someone knocking on your door at 3 a.m.
Yeah,
it happened to the producer, the creator of it, and he built a whole movie around that premise. Mm-hmm. That was all that was real based on true story thing.
See, that's the way to do it. You take something that's real, and then you build something that's satisfying,
even
with
bigger.
Your fiction.
Yeah, absolutely.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah,
right?
there you go. Another
based
great
on
example.
Ed Gein, right? Loosely.
Yep.
Yeah, so, I've always found it really entertaining that Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Psycho were based on the same person.
Yeah, right.
Right.
So good.
One guy was able to kind of permeate two prolific horror icons.
They're never in the same
but
place.
They're so dissimilar from one another also.
Right. Well, until they kind of put like Leatherface and Drag, and then he was kind of like Norman Bates where he dressed like his mom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess I missed that one.
That was 4 Next Generation.
Is that the one with Matthew McConaughey?
That's the Matthew McConaughey.
That one's
one,
considered one of the worst ones.
It was one of the worst ones. It was like direct to video, like definitely swept under the rug. But yeah, they had Leatherface as a cross dresser. It was pretty funny.
I missed it too.
And one question I wanted to ask before we start wrapping things up, Shawn, is do you have plans to do any other comics beside Westron, or is that going to be your sole focus?
I've got some ideas in the pipe for sure.
Oh, cool.
Some things I'm developing. But we have a specific plan for Westron. It's 7 story arcs.
Okay. Wow.
That tie everything in a nice bow. But
how many
also,
issues do you think that will be? Like 70 or something like that?
And now probably like 25-ish.
Oh, okay. Okay.
The further out we go, the looser our outline is.
I gotcha.
So we've got an outline for the whole series.
Okay.
We've got the first 4 issues fully written and ready to illustrate. We've got the first issue fully illustrated, completely done, ready to go. And then, 2, 3, and 4, we could start on them right now if we had the money.
Right.
To pay our artists. But 7 overall story arcs, and each of them is a case that stands on its own. You can read each story arc in a vacuum. But they also form one cohesive story. And we've also already, because we planned out our 7 stories in advance, there are already clues and hints in issue 1 that are for things that pay off in the last story arc.
Oh, wow. Okay. I like that.
We're building a thing where, and I put in the script, like, people shouldn't notice this, but I want it there. So if someone rereads this, they'll go, oh shit.
Yeah, right.
Because I've always loved that. I love like a rewatch or a reread, picking things up. Yeah. I'm loath to mention Neil Gaiman, but one thing, when I reread Sandman, I remember reading number 8 and going, oh shit, from number 8, dude was planning to die. And that blew my mind.
Yeah.
He had a way of weaving that stuff in subtly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
did.
too bad he's a piece of shit. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Great writer, but yeah, not a great person. But yeah, no. So if people wanted to find you social media wise, where do you send out to people for follows? And where
most stuff we're Westron_comic.
Okay.
That's Instagram, Threads, Mastodon. Because people are using Mastodon, right? Right, guys? Mastodon?
That's how I felt
cool.
like people were going to be with Blue Sky. And now I feel like sometimes I'm by myself over there.
I love Blue Sky. That's, I think, my favorite social media platform. I think we're Western Comic without an underscore over there.
Okay.
Or
I'll have to look you up and follow.
Western.bluesky.social, whatever. You can find us. It's easy enough. We are not on X Twitter.
Okay.
It's like an extinct animal, I think.
Yeah.
a Mastodon.
Yeah, right.
I believe.
Mastodon is the less successful version of Blue Sky.
Yeah, right.
Or a heavy metal band.
Or that.
Yeah.
Or that too. So Rupert Holmes, Keith, I think wrote the Pina Colada song, but also
that's why he's in my mind. Yeah, that's why.
Yeah. Also, the other thing I want to ask Shawn before he goes is, so can you talk about the internal variant covers?
Oh,
is that something that you did?
So,
it's like your invention, kind of, right?
As we were going through the comic here, the creation process, we found a colorist that we really loved. She's an artist called Azumu in the Philippines, and she's young. She's fantastic. The amount of talent she has for how old she is, frankly, disgusts me, and I don't think it should be allowed. But unfortunately, she has her own comic. And though she did our coloring for the whole issue and she delivered it in great time, we want to keep a consistent look for our comic throughout. That's very important. We don't want to Walking Dead switch up at issue 6, you know. We want it to look the same throughout. And so because she has her other thing that she works on, which is our next stretch goal, by the way, is her comic, Human Conqueror.
Oh, cool.
We hit 3,000. Her comic's our next stretch goal. It's 64 pages for free. Come on. Get us to 3,000 people.
I was going to say, like, that's a bargain right there.
But because of that, we decided to go ahead and get a different colorist that can continue with us throughout and be there for us. But we really love Azumu. We've loved working with her. It's been a great partnership. She actually still has 3 pages in the comic, which is there's sort of a bit between the prologue and the story starting properly, where it's someone finding the journal and starting to read the case that we're on. So that was small enough that I know that we can continue using her for that in the future. So it's really kind of 3 time frames, but one of them's just an interstitial that we're only going to see like once, at the beginning and end of every story arc.
Oh, cool.
But because we paid for all that beautiful coloring, we've decided to do a separate version that is the Azumu edition. So it has an exclusive Azumu cover that's only going to be for this campaign, and it's the pages with coloring by her on the inside.
Oh, cool.
As well. So it's variant interiors.
Nice.
I've never seen that before.
No, I've never seen that either.
It's not something we're going to do again. It's just because of sort of the process we went through in, we've had false starts. We've had all these struggles, but these struggles are why so many of these Kickstarters wait a year and a half to deliver.
Right.
Because they don't understand when they're launching their campaign before their comic's done, all the pitfalls you can have. That's the word.
Oh, yeah.
Pitfalls.
Yeah,
all the pitfalls you can have in making a comic. So we got all our pitfalls out of the way up front.
Yeah, smart.
At our own great expense.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that's the whole goal is we've figured it all out now. We know how to move forward smoothly. Now, when the campaign wraps, all we have to do is send it off to print and then send it to you guys.
Awesome, man. Love that.
That's
the way to do it, man. Well, Shawn,
that Azumu edition, we're printing it to order. We're only printing
so it's
the number of copies that are ordered.
Okay.
Yeah, just the number of copies that are ordered, plus, whatever 10-20% for shipping mistakes and things like that. You always got to pad it a little bit just to make sure that
you need
you're covered
for damages and things like that. Yeah,
yeah,
of course.
But that's only for this campaign. It's one of the only rewards that does not have a late pledge option. So July 1st, no more chance to get this. Yeah, it's done forever, never offering it again, just for this campaign.
So 2 weeks to back before this is over, guys. So check that out. Variant interiors, which is definitely something new I haven't seen before. Sean, thank you so much for coming on and
thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, dude, and sharing the stories of Stargirl and all your graphic design adventures in Hollywood and stuff. That's really cool, man. And once you guys got the ball rolling for 2 and 3, hit me up. We'll have you on again.
We'd love to have you back.
Well,
oh yeah, so. Dude, are you kidding me? Like coming and hanging out with 3 other nerds for an hour.
Hell yeah, love it.
Actually, I prefer geek. I prefer geek though, because I think there's a difference between nerds and geek.
There is a difference between nerd and geek. It's true,
right? Because I
geek is more accurate.
Yeah,
because like nerds don't know they're socially awkward, whereas geeks do now. They're a little different.
Celebrate it.
Right.
So. It's true. I am more of a geek, but I don't know. Yeah. Geek just sounds. I mean, because it's got the other connotation of like the circus freaks biting off the chicken heads and stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Nerd may not be as strictly accurate, but it's more comfortable to me for some reason.
All right. Okay.
Awesome. Right on. And Sean, if you run into Jeff Johns, tell him Indie Comics Relay loves his stuff, and we love Ghost Machine. I'm a huge fan, so. Let him know,
I'm real happy with everything that's coming out of there.
Yeah, me too.
And I think Geiger #1, the miniseries, I think it's one of the best first issues of a comic.
So good.
That's setting up a whole new character and new world. Like, it kills it. And 24 pages or whatever it is, and it just sets everything up, intrigues you. Top tier.
Beautiful, yeah. He's great at
just
that.
Like Westron, actually.
Right.
That's a great way to wrap it back around.
Yeah, thank you for coming on, man. And keep us in mind for future issues coming back, and
I'll reach right
about
out.
Comics and movies, and
please
promote the campaign. So, all right, man. Well, have a great night, everybody out there. Go check out Westron on Kickstarter. You got 2 weeks to back it, and help these guys out. Help them make it this 25 issue series.
Get that stretch goal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, Sean. Have a great night, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Yep. Good night.
All right.
Yep.
We'll see you. All right, man. That was great, man.
That
and I
was
see
awesome.
our third guest is already in the back area, which is cool.
Look at that.
Another filmmaker as well. And
that's right.
Both me and Johnny met this kid at IC3.
You say kid, he's an adult.
Yeah, it's true. He looks like a kid to me, though.
Kid's a colloquialism for the Northeast.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
if you're from
everybody's a kid, right?
You're prone to calling somebody a kid, even though if they're older than you.
Yeah,
that guy, he's a real good kid.
Yeah,
you're right. It is a Massachusetts thing, but really cool guy. And I remember we just talked to him for a little bit on the Drink and Draw Friday, and then I went and bought his books on Saturday, and
his book was
a great
really,
creator, man.
Yeah, that book looks really cool.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we'll bring him in and we'll talk about everything there. But without further ado, let's bring in Pat O Malley from Punch Publishing. What's up, Pat? Oh my God, there he is.
What's up?
Good to see you again, man.
Can you hear me? Am I coming through?
Yeah, you're coming through, man. What's going on?
You guys were talking about calling me a kid, and I was telling my wife, I'm going on this podcast with some guys I met from IC3, and I told her about Johnny and how he was calling me kid back then. And I liked that. I was like, there's this dude, he keeps calling me kid, and I kind of like it. It's like a funny thing. But I brought that up like an hour ago.
That's funny.
Man, he keeps it alive.
Pat, I forgot that you're an advocate of kaijus until I saw your shelf.
Oh man, yeah. I
remember we had that conversation at IC3.
Yeah, I got hooked on Godzilla, and now I just am looking for the pieces that to fill the shelf.
Awesome. So cool, man. I love that.
Thanks, for everybody out there, we've talked about IC3 before, but it's a convention in Connecticut that is just indie creators. It's catered to indie creators to bring their books and just sell their books. There's nothing else there. It's like a mice. It's like a small press expo. But just so everyone's wondering, what the hell is IC3?
Yeah,
IC3. That's what it is.
Harry, nice to meet you, man. I haven't met you yet.
So nice same here. Nice to meet you too. Yeah, same here.
Harry is our one person on the show that's not a comic book creator per se, but he's in the realm. Like, he's a graphic designer and he does logos and things like that. So,
Sheldon Martin in the chat. First things first, Pat. What's your Mastodon screen name?
I never even heard of Mastodon until you guys. I thought it was the extinct animal as well. So.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I always think of the metal.
There's too many social media things, man. I stick to Instagram, and that's about it.
Amen. Yeah, you're smart. Speaking
of extinct animals, they're gonna try and recreate the woolly mammoth because they just created 3 dire wolves. Did you hear about this?
Yes. Oh, I did hear about
that. Smart.
Yeah, so
smart.
the next thing they're gonna do, right? Exactly, because we need those. We need wolves that are as tall as us.
Yeah. What else can we bring back that could kill us?
Yeah, I was gonna say we're just a few steps away from Jurassic Park now.
Yeah.
Well, they said the next thing they're gonna bring back is the woolly mammoth. Like, why? I mean, what do we need?
They should bring back the Noid from Pizza Hut. No, Domino's.
They should.
That's what they should resurrect.
You remember that game where you would throw the yo-yo and it was like
I do remember that.
Yeah, that game's dope.
I have like 3 Super Nintendo games, and the Noid is one of them, by the way.
The Noid. Think about the fact that a fucking pizza mascot made it into like video game stardom.
Oh, how dope! I wish we were.
You know
back
what was
in
a
that
great
time.
game with a mascot was Spot. Remember the Spot game from 7-Up?
7-Up.
That was a fun game, man.
7-Up Spot. See, yeah, there was the red dot on the 7-Up can was in turn also a mascot
Did
that
he wear
had
sunglasses?
Sunglasses.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
He was like
and stuff.
By today's standards, he was like a Temu California raisin, which some people are like, "What the fuck's a California raisin?" Which was a very soulful dried fruit.
Yeah.
And along those lines, you know what I miss? I miss Bonkers fruit candy. Those commercials. You know what I'm talking about?
No,
like they would bite into it. No, you don't remember Bonkers?
I remember the
bite
Bonkers.
into like
I do actually. Yeah.
They would eat like a grape flavored Bonkers. Oh, grape! And then like a bunch of giant grapes would fall on the guy's head.
Okay.
Oh yes, I do remember that. Yeah.
Well, it's good to see you guys.
Yeah, likewise.
I've been looking forward to this for a while, so this is cool to jump back on. And Keith, I did read Mighty Mascots, and I really enjoyed it. I felt like that was. I don't know if you checked out my book, The Jurassic Parkour. I felt like there's some kind of synergy connectivity there, where similar tone and stuff. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. I read all your books, and I'll definitely talk about them as we go through. One thing I wanted to just back up real quick for a second, Pat, is like, what is your history with comics? Like was it something that you always wanted to get into, or was it like, because I know you were doing filmmaking too.
Yeah.
But was comics in the equation, or is that something you found later?
Comics and me go way back before even movies. My uncle on my dad's side, he came over one day with all these brown paper bags filled with Marvel Silver Age, and I was about 7 years old, and I was getting Spider-Man, Captain America, Silver Surfer #1, Iron Man, like all these books that were like
all the classics.
So like that was kind of I had 2 uncles who kind of got me into comics in different ways. So that was one way where I have this just like the Holy Grail collection, just like, you know, and then another one was grabbing, you know, comics off the rack at gas stations, like Spawn and stuff like that. So, you know, at a young age, I was into them. And then you kind of fall out of love with whatever, you get into other stuff, you know, get into cartoons or whatever. And then at some point in high school, I read 30 Days of Night, and I didn't even realize that comics could do that. And there were horror comics. So it kind of hooked me back in. And, then again, fall out of love a little bit, read them here and there, collect them. But then, as I got older, I did the film thing. And at some point, making movies, you really have to like rally the troops, and it becomes exhausting to do that over and over and over again with no budget. You know what I mean? To be like, okay, guys, I need everybody to show up at this time.
Yeah, right.
No money for 8-10 hours, and it's just like
you'd be lucky if you get 2 slices of pizza out of me.
For sure, or any pizza at all. Yeah,
or any pizza at all.
So at some point, I was just thinking there has to be a better way to be creative, and I just started writing a comic. I didn't know how to make comics, but over a couple of years, I just started learning. I found an editor, and he really kind of put me on the trajectory to actually make one. And then reading like the Scott McCloud books, understanding comics, making comics. Those were like my,
those are great. Yeah.
The Bibles of like understanding what comics are, what that kind of storytelling is, because it's a different art form. You have to adapt how you tell a story, how you freeze the moments.
Right. And how to think about how it's different from a movie and like.
Totally. So I was very much in like script writing. And then when I was writing the comic, I kind of had to draw it out myself. Even though I wasn't going to be the artist, I had to panel it out and just kind of feel it so I can see the beats,
visualize it for yourself, storyboard.
For sure. Totally.
As a filmmaker, right?
And I drew all the characters. I like to, I'm not going to draw the book, but I love to be involved visually because I think that's how you can kind of put your stamp on things. So, designing the characters. But a lot of the characters for Pop Scars came from a short film called Pop. And
okay. Is that a film that you made, or like?
Yeah, it's on. It's on my Kickstarter page.
I checked it out. It's very interesting. Very, I don't know, it made me feel uneasy, but it's
good. It's experimental, and it was just my way of writing, directing,
I'm gonna have to editing, go watch that.
Scoring, shooting it. I was the camera operator.
Yeah, it was very cool.
It was just my way to be creative and get something out of my system. All I wanted to do was make movies. So
that short movie has made me afraid of Marilyn Monroe now. I can't.
Yeah, good.
I can't.
Good. Yeah.
Wow, I'm gonna have to go watch that. I didn't know you based it off of a film that you made.
Kind of, yeah. Kind of like once I was done, I just felt like the world that we created was so dope, so many cool characters that like I just wasn't ready to leave it go. And then once I put Pinky into that world, I was just like, oh man, like I have something here that I could like take to a whole new level with the comic. I could do anything. There's no budget now. I could bring the shark the theme into it and stuff like that.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I kind of got that connection because I did watch your pool shark video, which is very fun, man. Very fun video.
Well, we have to let the audience know about that too.
Yeah,
let's pause real quick and so what do you say, Pat? If we could just take a little detour here, please let the audience know what you are responsible for.
Yeah,
for this is you've permeated the zeitgeist of internet culture forever.
A little bit, but like going viral. Everyone talks about going viral. It's like, and I made this movie Pool Shark kind of with my sister in mind. As being like. Afraid of the deep end. What's in the deep end? Shark in the deep end kind of thing as kids. So I made this little movie, and it was hard. It kicked my ass to make that movie. And all I wanted to do was get into film festivals and putting it on YouTube. I felt like that it was going to go there to die. And then all of a sudden, it starts getting millions of views, and then I'm like, what the hell is going on? So then I become a YouTube partner. And at this point, it's over 100 million views. And, Pool Shark is how I made Pop Scars. It totally funded that book. Otherwise, I don't know. The comics are expensive. I saw someone said there's no budget. There's no budget in terms of like, if I want to blow up Earth, I could do that in a comic. But obviously, obviously it's cost like a lot of money to make. But
let me play the for the audience. Let me play. I know you have I won't play the whole Pool Shark video, but you have a trailer for it. Like I was going to show people that so they could see what we're talking about.
Yeah, let's give them a little context.
All right, let me see here.
What a wild story, though. This helped you fund your comic, like wild,
right?
Yeah. You know what? Like the one thing I'll say is I wrote this in one night, and then I kind of was just like, yeah, whatever. Like it's probably impossible to do this and I Googled animatronic shark, and I found one in California, and I was like, oh man, I kind of like have to do this now.
Yeah.
And I made this movie as I was house sitting at someone's house watching their dog. I was like, do you mind if I make a movie in your pool? And they're like, no, go ahead. And this is, kind of worked out.
Wow, make a movie in your pool.
Yeah,
if I got that phone call, I'd be like,
what kind of movie are we talking about?
Like,
yeah.
I'm like, where is this going to be on Pornhub? Like,
Did you leave a Baby Ruth in that pool before you left? Or
let's roll that beautiful.
Yeah,
footage.
here, let's watch this trailer for a pool shark.
Oh, there's
the
the audio,
Keith?
Yeah, audio.
Pause and rewind.
Why? We should have audio. Hang on, let me dip out real quick and see what's going on here. Share screen.
While he's fixing that, if you wanted to give a little bit of an intro to the clip we're about to watch.
So yeah, it's brother and sister playing in a pool, and all of a sudden the brother sees a shark or shadow, and he's trying to convince the sister that there's a shark in the pool, and she doesn't believe him, and he gets knocked in, and she tries to help him. She gets knocked in, and chaos ensues. But there's like a fun twist at the end of it.
Nice.
But it also plays on that thing where, like, when you were a kid, you always thought there was a shark in the pool.
Totally, that fear of the deep end. I feel like that's something that maybe everybody had, like a common fear,
Yeah, definitely. There was like one of the James Bond movies had that, I think, like where the guy.
Jaws? Oh.
No, there was a James Bond movie where there was sharks in like a pool or something, and everybody, if you saw that when you were a kid, that would like scar you.
Here goes Jaws. I mean,
yeah. All right, here we go.
There's always good for one, at least one.
Yeah, right.
These kids were amazing, by the way.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, Ace Ventura did have a shark in a pool. A lot of Jaws inspiration for sure. Actually, we watched Jaws when we were making this just to get
the 50th anniversary of Jaws too.
Yeah.
When I first saw Jaws when I was a little kid in my single digits, I was watching it in my bed, and then like I was so afraid that like I kind of thought of my bed as being a boat, and I was afraid to get off my bed. I was like so afraid of like watching that movie. Like I don't know, but I go deep sea fishing every year anyway, so I'm not really afraid of the ocean, or I'm afraid of what's in the ocean because we don't all know what's in there. You can't see below the surface of the water, but it's always like a creepy. In the movie Jaws, you never actually saw the shark eating people. You just saw like the before and afters. You know what I mean? And it's like what a creepy feeling, which is like what you kind of created here with this little short film.
And my sister's favorite movie is Jaws, so it kind of is. I think when you make something with that like kind of I don't know, inspiration, or like the root of it, I think things turn out better because you're making it out of like a place of like you really care about it.
Right.
Do you think there should have been sequels to Jaws? Because what a weird, like, why is this one family of shark attacking the Brody family, in 3 sequels? Just don't go like
it got personal, Harry. Sure. It was very personal.
Yeah, they blew him up. Sure. He was pissed. His family got pissed. I wish that they kept the same shark design though, because Jaws gets funky looking as you keep going, where it becomes less scary. You're like, oh, you kind of look like a joke.
And at least Jaws. Go ahead, Harry or Johnny.
No, wasn't the shark named Bruce though?
Yeah, the shark's name was Bruce. Yes, that is accurate.
Right.
The shark's name was Bruce.
Right.
As a matter of fact, that guy was local.
Oh yeah, look at that.
There you go.
That's awesome.
Oh damn, what was I gonna say? I forgot now. Never mind.
I was gonna say at least you have part 3 that has the awesome Louis Gossett Jr. line where he's like, "We're talking about some damn shark's mother."
Oh,
like that.
Yes. No, actually, I remember what I was gonna say. At that time in the 80s, where there was like Jaws 4 right? And it was just ridiculous. And he was bigger and bigger and bigger with each one. That he was as prolific of a creature as Godzilla or King Kong. Right.
Yeah,
when you went to Universal Studio, Jaws could attack your boat on the ride, or you could see King Kong. He was that much of a character.
Was that
what's crazy
was
though?
That Mario Van Peebles?
Was he?
Sorry.
Was he in that? I forget.
I think so. Or what's the guy's name? The British guy. I forget his name. Michael. Who's the guy? The British guy. Batman's butler.
Alfred in the Dark Knight series.
Kane,
right.
Michael
Kane. Yeah.
But anyway,
what were you saying? Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, just that like Godzilla has like 35 movies, and like Jaws has 4, and King Kong has maybe it's amazing that Godzilla kind of was able to keep reinventing himself in different ways. The 70s is very kind of campy. Then he gets a little bit more darker, and it's pretty incredible. I hope that they go back to putting him in a costume. I hope we move away from CGI. I don't think they will. I don't think they're bold enough, but I would love to see. I would love to see Godzilla in the suit again.
So, couple things to that point. One thing is just remarkable how Godzilla existed in both the American and Japanese culture.
Yeah.
Right. And prolific in both. Right. He walked both lines and Raymond Burr being like that connective tissue, right, for both cultures.
Even as far back as like the first one, they redid it with adding the Raymond Burr scenes. Yeah.
And the sequel they did in the 80s, that was almost, I think, wasn't it made for U.S. audiences, like Return to Godzilla or Godzilla's Revenge or something like that?
Maybe Return in 85.
Or no, it was Godzilla 1985. It was known as in some releases or whatever. But yeah, it was just that though, right? It was bouncing off of that era where like those characters were prolific. The other thing, the man in suit, I have confidence that we might get that again one day. And the only reason why I say that is that when you look at the Japanese Attack on Titan live action movies they made, those were done by Toho, I believe, with the Titans actually being men in suits.
We got to go back to that. But now with AI, I'm terrified that all movies are going to be AI in the next 5 years.
Oh God, yeah. Yes. I mean, it's going to be a thing, right? I mean, we can't fight it.
No,
yeah.
I think the last time we saw it,
Harry, go on.
Okay, Johnny.
No, go
Harry. I think the last time we saw Godzilla in a suit, a man in a suit, was like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, right? When he was in
Such a good cameo.
Actually, it was Godzilla 2000. Isn't that when they stopped doing the suit?
I think it was 2000.
Yeah. Or Final Wars, maybe something like that.
Maybe that was 2004. Yeah.
Or One Crazy Summer with Bobcat. Remember?
Yes.
No,
Johnny was saying something.
Oh yeah, Johnny. Did you have a thought about, or were you saying?
Oh, what was I saying? Sorry, we got so Godzilla.
We were talking about AI and how it's going to ruin
AI. Okay,
and I hope it doesn't permeate comics, because that's a whole thing too.
I mean, it's starting to happen, but I feel like the community is against it. So.
Here's what I think. It's process, not product. That's a lyric from a band I love called Drug Church, and I kind of like. That's like
There's no.
I think that's like a mission statement. It's like, are you making it to sell it, or are you making it to tell a story? And I think AI you're just making something quick to sell. And Pop Scars took me 5 years to make. I wanted to tell the story that like an honest to God beginning, middle, and end, like developed, and fully baked.
Yeah, and like I feel like exactly what you said. I feel like there's no soul with the AI stuff, and all the people that will make comics with it are probably all the people that cut corners and everything in their life.
Yeah, I have no interest really, and I hope that it just doesn't permeate that industry.
It's just, I don't think it's ever gonna be. Well, I mean, some people are gonna use it, but
the problem is it's quick and it's cheap. You know what I mean?
That's the problem.
So it's like, it doesn't mean it's good, but you can make stuff so quick,
and it steals from everybody. Like,
it's not like it's anything original. It's like,
right.
but it's not going away, unfortunately.
Yeah, no. Unfortunately, it won't. And the other scary side of it is what we're gonna do in 10 years when it's taken over like all kinds of jobs too.
I feel like we've made so many movies about this that like, why don't we like take our own advice and like shut it down?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 100%, man. But to loop it back to you, so so you reached a point where you realized when you were making films that you got to rely on so many people to make a movie, whereas comics, you can rely on a small team,
super small
that
team,
you control.
Yeah,
with money, basically, you
don't have to do everything on the day.
Yeah,
yeah. You can kind of, tweak stuff, edit stuff, redo something if you need to, and you could kind of find it as you go. I think. This is my first comic. So as I was making this, I think I grew exponentially as a storyteller and a creator because it took me so long to finish this project. It kind of was like going to, instead of film school, like comic school. Like I learned how to do this, and I feel very confident that I could just like, I can make comics now. I like know how to do this. And
yeah, right.
That's pretty,
and I feel like the more you make, the easier it gets.
Yeah, and then you just want to try different things and experiment with how you tell the story, and that's kind of where I'm at now.
Yep. And me, much like you, I was always like, I'd write my script, and I would also draw out the pages because I needed to see it visually. But I've gotten to the point now where I don't need to do that anymore. I just write the scripts.
Yeah, I can kind of get the script. I do like to still get in there and draw some things.
Yeah.
Maybe some keyframes, or I still love to design the characters. Just because I feel like that brings a lot to it. But I think it becomes like a second nature almost. You can just dive in and tell the story.
Yeah, absolutely. And Johnny, did you ever get a chance to read Pop Scars?
I didn't, but I believe I did pick it up at the show, or you may have given me a copy.
I gave you my copy to check out.
Oh, that's where it was. That's where it was. I haven't gotten a chance to read it yet, but it's on my stack.
Okay.
Oh, Johnny, it's gonna blow your mind, I hope.
I can't wait to read it, man.
No,
so Pat, I did read it, and I really liked it. It reminded me of if you took like the girl with the dragon tattoo and threw her into Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
It has that kind of vibe to it. Like
I think Tarantino is a big touchstone for this particular one.
I could feel that in the story.
Yeah.
It's a very, very timely story because it coincides with Father's Day that we just had.
Yeah.
It's visually, like the cover reminds me of Drive.
Yeah. It has
I love that filmmaker, but I despise that movie just because I had a different idea of where that should have went. And when it wasn't what I wanted it to be, I think I kind of never gave it a chance.
You rejected it at that point.
I did, kind of, yeah.
I get that way sometimes too. When there's something that happens in movies, like that's bullshit. I don't fucking like that. I should have been this way. Like I get that, and then you reject the movie when you're like, that's unfair.
No, but I agree. It definitely has some of that because Drive was very, had those purple lights and kind of like neon vibe and
neon.
It has a vibe to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
And I brought you Kickstarter here so that we could. I know it's over, but I wanted to.
And congrats on that, by the way. You knocked it out of the park with the campaign.
Thanks, man. The book was finished, and I kind of hit my whole audience with this book over the last 5 years. So what was cool about this campaign was pretty much like 95% of those like backers were new people to me. Like I didn't know these people backing the book. Whereas, my previous campaigns, it's a lot more friends and family. So that was interesting to also kind of see is like, as I put this book out, it was cool to kind of tap into some new people to get this to.
I love to like, this is just a small part of the book and it's not going to spoil anything for anybody, but I love right here, this image. I love how you came up with this drug where it's like, it's basically thumbtacks that people stick in their face,
and that was in the movie too, right?
Oh my god, this is so perfect.
It was in the movie. That's kind of where it originated. But actually, I got that idea from a bully kid on the school bus in grade school. He like locked eyes with me, and he like stuck a thumbtack in his arm.
Yikes!
It was one of the silver ones from wrestling, But that stuck with me forever. And when I was kind of writing this and trying to think of a drug, I wanted to do something new. I really love turning something ordinary that you've seen a million times into something like terrifying or different. And just like the thumbtack became like, I even have like a tattoo of it here.
Awesome.
It just became like the kind of an icon for the story, you know.
I thought it was brilliant because I could see if someone introduced that drug for real tomorrow, like half of Hollywood would be doing it right now.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's what was brilliant about it. But the art, you got in some incredible artists to work on this too. Like I saw that you had a cover or pinup by Marguerite Bennett and
Marguerite Savage. Yeah,
Marguerite Savage. That's what I'm saying.
I have been super lucky with the amount of cover artists that kind of jumped in on this. I think honestly because the character is so damn cool. That they all are like, oh, I'd love to draw her. But it really started with Santi. Santi is the interior artist, and he did inks and colors on issue 1, and he kind of set the tone. And then for issue 2, we got a new colorist, NL Ashworth, just because it took so long to kind of finish with it all on his shoulders. So we kind of spread the workload. But like the new colors for issue 2 to 6, like this is NL Ashworth's art coloring, and
very European coloring too. Like this is like we were talking with the last guest about a comic called Dylan Dog, and this art, like the coloring, reminds me of that book a lot.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to like go super just in your face, pop. Like I wanted it to pop. You know what I mean?
Yep. It certainly does, though. Like I love it. And like, I mean, look at this. Like these.
That's awesome. That's so a dynamic cover right there.
Yeah. Right? That's where you kind of. Issue 5 kind of feels like an ending, and then you get that image, and then you realize that the real ending is.
Oh, and here's your thumbnails too.
Yeah, so you know, a lot of this stuff I didn't show Santi. It just turned out that he was picking up on the vibe that I was writing, and it's so cool to see stuff kind of translate over without him ever kind of seeing my. Only a very few times did I share my sketches with him.
That's a testament to how well you wrote your draft that he picked up on it and pulled right exactly what you were thinking out of your head.
Yeah,
right. That's good direction.
We had like really good synergy. We still message each other often. We became good friends. I've never met him. We haven't talked in person because he speaks Spanish. He's from Argentina. But I do hope someday we do like a Comic-Con together. Just because he's become a great friend. And yeah, these toys turned out so dope.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you about that. Those came out really good. And I think you had them at the show, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. They're kind of pricey, but I love them. I kind of made them for me. You know, I wanted the toys. So
is it a custom job, or did you have these made from scratch?
These are made from a guy in South Africa named Two Brothers, 1979 on Instagram, and he hand painted these, and then there's 6 different toys that are paired with 6 different weapons that have all different artists doing the card like art.
Oh, that's cool.
And did they put that all together for you? The card and the blister pack? And wow.
Totally.
Very cool.
That's very cool. And you got a wham stand.
The Wham stand, you can't be wrong with the Wham stand, you know.
Man, everybody knows about Wham stand now.
Yeah, Matt, he's carving a path for himself, which is like, you know, I respect
amazing.
He's doing some.
We
cool
heard
stuff.
about him 3 years ago, Johnny,
yeah.
and like George was the only one that knew about him at the time. And
Him and I have hung out a couple times too, which is cool. We got to because he lives in California as well. So.
Oh, okay. Cool. Are you going to be in San Diego, Pat?
Not San Diego, but LA. I'll be in LA.
Right on.
Awesome, man. Yeah, look at these toys. They're incredible, dude.
I just had fun doing this stuff. It made it just felt like it made it bigger, kind of expanded the world.
Yeah.
And I think
what were you saying earlier, Johnny, about having like you were saying about having your comic come to life with
having a tangible piece of your book in your hand in one format or another.
I mean, like I kind of went all out to where I got like bats made.
Hang on, you make it big. Yeah, that's cool, dude.
So this is a fake one.
Yeah,
but I do have real ones that you know, just in case somebody like breaks in my house or something. You know, it's the shit out of it.
Amazing, dude. And you even got a did someone cosplay this character?
She did. Sammy Sweetly. I met her at LA Comic Con, and she came up to me and she like loved Pop Scars and said, "I'm going to cosplay your character." And I was like, amazing. And then a couple months later, she sent me these photos, and I just like couldn't believe it. So I hope that her and I also do a convention someday, because she just like killed it. That's all her own. She put that all together. She went to Hollywood. She did that shoot herself.
Amazing.
And that just makes this whole experience so dope, in a way that I just can't even articulate, where people have taken this on and it's kind of become something where it's bigger than something that I just kind of came up with. It kind of turned into a real actual thing out there in the world. And it's just rad. I kind of never imagined this first book would kind of go as far as it has.
It's very
now, you
cool.
were saying this is kind of like an FU to Hollywood, kind of.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I worked in Hollywood as a camera operator on a terrible talk show. And it just kind of like ate at
which
my
one?
soul.
It wasn't Ellen, was it? She was a real jerk.
No, I don't even think it didn't last long. But while I was on my lunch breaks, I would just go film the city and build up footage for my short film. And just working in the industry, or trying to work my way up in the industry for like 13 years, you meet a lot of like really crappy people, a lot of great people. Right. Like I don't want to undercut how great people are out working in the industry too, but it seems like the bad ones kind of stuck out to me. And, I just wanted to put Hollywood in its place, because I think some stuff that happens behind the scenes is really messed up, and they kind of get away with it way too often. So I just wanted to kind of tell a story about what happens when they don't get away with it.
I think you mentioned in a different interview that I saw you in, you kind of compare Pinky's dad to Harvey Weinstein or whatever.
Yeah, but
that kind of character.
That's absolutely true. But I think if we all close our eyes and think of a like dirtball movie producer, who's the first person you think of? And it's Harvey Weinstein. It's not hard to get there. So I did.
Yeah, absolutely.
I actually saw him at Sundance Film Festival one time, and he just like walked by me, and he just felt gross, kind of.
Right. You get a shower.
You have like those cartoon stink lines coming off of him.
Yeah. He's a gnarly dude. So
Yeah.
Was Pop Scars your first comic that you ever made?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah, I did No H2O kind of simultaneously, but Pop Scars was my first one, and No H2O I took a class for and just on how to write comics, and it started as 8 pages, and I just ended up really enjoying it and just kept expanding it until it was a graphic novel.
Yeah, and it was, the one you gave me was like a hardcover. It had
like a kind of smaller size, but
it was like a YA kind of size. And
it's like it's Mad Max for kids, kind of post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, that's a great way to pitch it, because I like that, but I feel like I think I like Pop Scars and the Jurassic Parkour 4 the best for sure.
Yeah, Pop Scars.
That one's a lot of fun. That one is like
Jurassic Parkour. It's fun, and that also took a very long time to make. And I love the Turtles. I love Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's like a love letter to Teenage Mutant Ninja
So to
Turtles.
kind of be able to do my own version of it with a buddy from college who we kind of co-created it together, it was really fun to kind of put that one and hold the book. And that one is a comedy. It's very much about like failing and trying to try again. Seeing if you could be a hero after you totally screwed up. And I think a lot of people, we could like kind of relate to that.
It had like I'm trying to think of, I've seen that story in other mediums, but I'm trying to think of one that it would compare to. Yeah, like when they become like the ultimate failure, and then
they're retired and just like they're slobs and they're overweight and just like
and you have to build
giving up on life.
And,
it's kind of cool to see them try to save the day one more time. But that one I just has a special place in my heart, because it just took like 10 years to get to that point.
Now, did you do that one after Pop Scars, or is that?
Yeah, we were trying to do it as an animated series first, and
that would be cool, dude.
I think this was kind of like our proof of concept, but it's so hard to get anything made in any form. So I think just even having the book is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I want to show that one off here. I found your old Kickstarter here. Just want people to see it because it's very fun. If you love Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you would love this book.
It like screams, it screams TMNT.
Yeah, totally like a Saturday morning cartoon throwback. And the art team on this, like Ari and Ariel, they got it. They knew what we were after. They killed it.
Yeah, it's great, dude. And this would make a killer cartoon too.
Oh, I think it would be just incredible as like cartoon, video game, toys, just like the whole gauntlet.
Yep.
And I think it could be really fun. Just the characters alone were just like, they become more special to me than the Turtles because we just created them out of thin air, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I love the use of dinosaurs is really fun, and the parkour, of course, is really great.
The play on words, it just kind of all worked. It kind of all.
Yeah, and the artist is like perfect, like the cartooniness, you know, and.
This is another one where, you know, designed the characters and I storyboarded a chunk of it. And then at a certain point, I just let him do his thing because he was just killing it.
Yeah, it's great, man. I enjoyed this one a lot. Yeah, like you said, lives in the same universe as like Mighty Mascots.
It totally does. Yeah, yes. Totally.
I got to see a crossover.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know. You never know. That would be fun. That would be
totally
fun. But yeah, I did like this one a lot too. And it looked like you were planning on maybe doing another one the way you left it off. Like
I would love to. I just think, man, these take a long time to produce. You know, you really got to love it. Everybody's got to be on board. And I think, you know, Pop Scars, No H2O, that was all me. I kind of produced that myself. This one I have a partner with. So until we're both kind of like ready to go, you know, I think I'm kind of
just playing
with some other ideas and seeing what else I can make.
That was my next question. Like, are you working on something now that? Stuff?
Oh yeah.
Anything you can talk about, or is it like kind of still in the planning phase?
A lot of stuff is in the planning phase, but we could definitely touch on some things. I'm doing 2 books that I didn't write. I'm just kind of helping produce. I kind of putting them together. One is with my wife.
Cool.
She has like a cool horror story that I always kind of liked, and we found an artist. So we're like 25 pages in on that.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
And I hope we can finish that next year. And then there's another one that's kind of a fantasy story that someone brought to me as a script, and I kind of reformatted it, and I found the artist, and we're kind of putting that together. And I think we're like 90 pages in on that. And I'm hoping that comes out next year too. And that's pretty dope. Very excited about that. But those are other people's kind of stories. So I am writing some new stuff, and more Pop Scars is on my list.
Nice. You got more stories there.
I do. I didn't think, I wasn't sure if even the world wanted more or needs more.
I want more. I want to see Pinky go after other evil producers. And
she does. So you're in for more. I have volume 2 written. And I am working with the artist from this fantasy story. I love Santi's art, but I felt like what we did with this book was like kind of an emotional story. And I wanted to kind of not mess with it by doing more. I felt like him and I put our all into it. And I felt like.
And now the story's kind of taking another tone.
Yeah, I just wanted to give people something brand new and kind of surprise them and take it in a different way. So It is new art, and I have it written. I'm kind of like adding some scenes and tweaking some things, but I think this is going to be like, aside from maybe a couple spin-offs, I think this is going to be like kind of it. And I'm going to try to like blow things up a bit and take it all the way. Just because I heard the last guy on, he's going to do like 7 books.
Yeah, like 7 stories.
I was just like, oh my God, that's like, it's such an undertaking. And to me,
I know, right?
If I did it at my pace right now, I would be like 90 by the time Pop Scars finished. So I kind of want to finish it like as hard as I can and really slap people with it, and then just kind of like walk away and do other stories.
Will she at least take on P. Diddy at all, or?
I think. P. Diddy's going to get his, but yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
She opens up a garage. It's full of baby oil.
Yeah, right. Baby oil. So can't hold on to the bat.
Right. But like he gets mad at her.
exciting next part, and some spin-offs that kind of lead into volume 2, and then another spin-off that I hope happens, and it's something very different, and I'm kind of like obsessed with it, but I hate to talk about stuff because I'm not sure if it will happen or not. I hope it does. You know, I hate to be like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then it never happens. So I only like to say things if I'm positive it's going to happen. And then I'm
happy that you got more planned. Like I figured that was it.
I was thinking about doing 3 volumes, but then once I kind of wrote volume 2, I realized that volume 3 would be like super light. So I was like, screw it. Let's just do like one insane volume 2. And let's just go all the way and just take it as far as we can. And so I'm excited about it. And then I think that's probably all I have to give to Hollywood, or as much shit talking I have to do for Hollywood.
You gotta get it out of your system. You know? Like,
take it. Go visit another city and tell a story somewhere else. You know.
Yep,
I like that too.
And I think
kind of like you, Pat, where it's like I know when you start something, you're gonna be, you're gonna be in it for the long haul, like especially if you do a mini series.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it all the way.
Yeah. I'm trying to get to a point now where I try to produce like a couple different books a year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to do like maybe like once a year get some Mighty Mascots out, and something else. And then you know what I mean. I'm trying to get to that point where I can work on multiple things, so I'm not stuck on one project for so long, you know what I mean?
And your portfolio is now diverse. You have a wide variety of projects as opposed to like a one note kind of thing.
Totally. I have some other stuff that I have an issue 1 done of a fantasy story called Once Upon a Fairy's Tale, and it's about a fairy who loses her magic tail, and she has to go steal it back from an evil king, and it's kind of like a little group of misfits that help her. And we have 1 issue done. I just don't know what to do with it. Like I'd like to continue that. And then, I want to get into some more like hardcore horror stuff, maybe do a black and white book, to kind of strip down and see what we can do there. And then I have something else I'm kind of writing that's like kind of really personal to me and my sister again. Something about us is like, we lost our dad when we were kids. So I think that's like something I explore in my stories. And I have 1 coming up that I'm just writing and taking my time with it. That's really, I love it. I love it so much. So I love it so much. I drew the first 22 pages completely, like not just like scratchy storyboards. Like I drew the pages.
Oh, like rendered it.
In a notebook, not to like print, but just like, this is what it is, this is what I want it to be. Mm-hmm. And, I don't know who's going to draw this book yet. So until I find like the exact right look for it,
I'm going to sit around to
I'm going to kind of wait and just like let it develop. And I think I've gotten really into like manga lately, and I'd love to kind of bring some of that influence into my next project or 2. So we'll see. But I definitely have some stuff. I love comics. I can't stop making them.
I know, isn't it like once it's in your blood, like it's just you can't stop. And like I was gonna ask you, so you mentioned manga. What kind of comics do you read now? Are you more like an indie guy? Like
totally. I was on with, did you meet Kurt and Jake from IC3? They're doing Turbo Pit Fighter. So I was on their podcast.
No, I don't know if we met them.
I don't think I got to meet them.
Check out Turbo Pit Fighter. But those guys are great, and we had a great conversation. And I was kind of like talking about Batman and how I'm kind of sick of these books, and I want to go all indie. And one of them kind of reminded me that like, some kid is picking up his first book in Batman, and some of these superheroes are how they kind of get them into comics. So I kind of realized, maybe they're not for me at this point, but they are necessary to kind of bring in new readers. The characters are important. Because at this point, I'm kind of like, I've read every Batman story. I'm kind of sick of them.
Yeah, and, like what else can they do with Batman? At this
point? So I'm kind of like exploring what else is out there, and I'm finding that like I love indie books so much, and horror books, and the Japanese books are just opened up a whole new world of storytelling and like inspiration for me, where I'm just excited because once you think you found it all, you realize there's a whole new world that you haven't checked out.
Right.
That's kind of how it was when I discovered like Philippe Drouillet from like France, like the humanoid stuff, like his artwork. It's kind of like, there's amazing stuff out there. You just kind of dig a little deeper, and you can get into a whole new like burst of inspiration.
You're gonna be open to it too.
Totally.
People are so close-minded, especially with comic readers. Like I worked at several comic book stores, and there's guys. They come in for their Spider-Man. They don't want to see anything else,
Yeah, I hope that people. I like to dig for stuff. I like to find the fringe stuff, the weird stuff. I love horror movies. So
I look for stuff exactly, stuff that you follow certain writers, but also I always like to read the synopsis on something. If the synopsis sounds weird and different, I'm going to try.
I love to read something weird. And that's kind of what I'm hunting for, is like, what's something different? Like the big book I read recently that I loved was called Dororo by Tezuka. And
is it a manga?
Yeah, it's from like the 60s, but man, it slaps. It's so good. I think everybody needs to, like, this should be like mandatory reading.
Dororo?
Dororo, Dororo.
Okay,
there might be 2 R's in the middle, but man, is it good. It's about like a dad who kind of sacrifices his son to the gods so he can become like all powerful, but the son has to go hunt down these demons, and every time he kills one, he gets one of his body parts back. But he's like running around with like swords for arms, and
cool.
Man,
that sounds cool, man. Yeah.
So, and actually, it's being remade right now, like modernized by another creator. And it's called Search and Destroy, and it's coming out from Fantagraphics in English now. And it's like an updated version of it with like a female protagonist.
Okay.
And oh my God, is it so badass? It's like perfect.
Okay. I'll have to look that up.
Search and Destroy, I can't praise enough for like new books coming out now. It is like the dopest thing I've read.
Yeah, I feel like you can't go wrong with anything by James Tynion right now, or all the Ghost Machine stuff is fantastic.
Yeah, I see everybody talking about Exquisite Corpses. I have not checked it out yet, but I think it has a very, a big marketing push behind it. I know they're like really pumping that book. And
Red #1. It's very Battle Royale-ish.
I love Battle Royale so much.
Except it's like picture it. It's like definitely taking a piss out of like the Illuminati, or like, the premise basically is all these families that run the world basically, and there's like 30 of them, and each one of them every 5 years they decide to change leadership, and how they do that is they find a small backwoods town, and they all have to find a killer of their choice, and they all go into this town, and all these killers fight it out basically.
I mean,
and then whoever wins gets control of the world for another 5 years.
That's a great idea for a comic. That like it's like almost a no-brainer. Like I bet.
And there's all kinds of crazy over-the-top killers. It totally reminded me of like Battle Royale. Like there's a guy that wears like a fox mask.
Yeah, I saw that character. Like kind of reminded me of Pinky actually. When I saw that.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Even their fonts,
right into that world.
And I was like, their font reminds me of Pop Scars.
Yeah.
Check it out. Check their logo out and look at Pop Scars again. It's very similar.
Isn't it funny when you see something that's just so similar? You're like,
yeah, you're right.
What came first? What's going on here?
Do you get mad at that stuff? It's hard not to sometimes take it personally, but then it's like, oh, like I'm sure they, had no idea if my book even exists. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I had an idea sitting in my head forever, Pat, that when the Electric State came out, I decided I no longer want to do this anymore because it's that exact idea.
So you know what that means? It means you gotta make your comics now. You can't wait, and you gotta once you find the one you love, don't wait and get it done, because there's that zeitgeist thing where it doesn't take long for somebody else to do it. I was always afraid that like something like Pop Scars would come out before me.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I jumped on Mighty Mascots as soon as I conceived it. I was like, someone's gonna make this someday, and
if I wanted to phrase it in a fucking spiritual way, is that I stopped listening to the Muse, and the Muse went to go talk to somebody else. So that's kind of that.
You let it go, and somebody else picked it up. Yeah.
Right. So now, did you say that you? Did I hear that right? You had a similar idea that was Same thing happened to you?
That's definitely happened. Probably more so with movies. When I used to kind of write movies and stuff, I would see a movie that would come out that would be my exact movie, and I would be pissed that now I can't make that anymore. But with comics, it's a little different because I feel like you can move on these projects. All you need is to find an artist, and you need some cash.
Yeah, have a script ready to go and just go. Yeah.
To that point, people have told me this countlessly, and I've never really listened until you really think about it. Nobody can tell your story like you anyway.
True that. That's so absolutely true.
So even if it's the same thing, tell your story.
Yeah, I think you just get it out of your system if you need to.
I'm trying to get Johnny to write that. It's called Clark and Five, right, Johnny? I'm trying to get you to do it. I think
I'm done with that.
Idea.
I feel the same way with artwork. I draw, logos and T-shirt designs and whatever, and like forever I've had like. So the second I think of something, if it's a good enough idea, I try to, sketch it out real quick, and then I do it I do it before anybody else can. At least have one version of it before somebody else steals my idea. Like I got really upset because for years I had ever since Wolverine came out, even before Wolverine came out, I'm like, I feel bad for Wolverine's lesser known cousin that no one ever talks about, Ben Vereen. and I always wanted to do like a Ben Vereen drawing as Wolverine, but have it be Ben Vereen. And then for years, I keep every time I have an idea like that, I check the internet, make sure no one's done it yet, and for years it hasn't been out there. And then 1 year, like recently, somebody did a version of him. Like, my God, like someone had the idea to do Ben Vereen Wolverine drawing. I'm like, well, now I'm gonna do mine real quick and put my little a thing, my initials on it, and call it mine. That's my vision that I always had. So every time I think of something like that, I try to do it right before anybody else can. You got to do it fast. It's like,
honestly, like, there's more like not as much original ideas, and it's more how you tell a story nowadays. And
it's always great when you see something new that kind of just like so original, rocks your socks off. Like, as in terms of movies, I don't know if you guys have seen The Substance.
Yeah, it's great.
This film,
fantastic.
I think we talked about it at IC3.
Yeah, actually. I think we did. Yeah,
I wasn't such a fan of it, but I was like, yo, you're crazy.
Dean. Yeah, Dean. We were talking with Dean
about Substance. I think this movie is absolutely one of the best in the last 10 years. I don't think anything kind of touches it as far as original, creative, a true vision of a creator. I love that stuff. Finding something.
And I thought Cuckoo was really good too. Not as good as The Substance, but original. Like it felt like a very European kind of movie, like something Dario Argento would have made.
Love me Dario Argento.
Yeah, exactly.
As a movie guy, what's your favorite movie of all time?
I'm not supposed to talk about it.
His therapist doesn't allow him to get into these.
I'm not supposed to talk about it. Your own movie. But no, I'm just kidding.
Pick a number one movie of all time. Like
I think there's differences between best, favorite, inspirational. Like Fight Club. Fight Club has always been like that. That was the movie where it clicked that I could make movies, and to me, that's like that was a big deal to me. It's a perfect movie. Top to bottom, score, cinematography, acting, everything about that movie. I know some people are like, oh, it's toxic masculinity. Like forget that. It's like Fight Club is like a perfect movie. But like I found that Lord of the Rings is like, I'm going back to Lord of the Rings like as a comfort movie, like all the time. And I'm just obsessed with Middle Earth.
Brilliant.
Oh man, I don't think anything touches the trilogy. And then, I love Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid is like, to me, best last frame of any film in history. I think that movie is perfect. And then I'll just throw out like Clockwork Orange, Akira, Old Boy. Akira, I just love.
So dope.
Yeah, so I just love film, and I think it kind of informs like the stories that I tell and stuff.
Has there ever been a movie that you've seen in a theater that made you want to walk out?
Walk Out?
There was one for me that there was one movie for me that I saw in the theater that I'm like, should we leave? I don't know.
It was a Beatles movie. That Beatles movie, Across the Universe or whatever. I despise. I actually hate musicals, so this movie just I hated it.
I'm with you there, Pat, on that one, because I was so upset when I went to go see South Park the movie because they didn't promote it as a musical, and sure enough, what was it? A musical.
Yeah, musicals really they just like. I'm sorry, Amy's Birdhouse, that I talked about it, but musicals I can't deal with.
That's my wife. Why is she laughing about Fight Club? Fight Club's great.
But I love Suspiria. I love the Italian giallo films, and The Thing is probably one of the best horror movies ever made.
So good.
Carpenter stuff. I love Jaws. We talked about. There's some that are just they're better than others. They're just better.
Yeah.
I think the movie that I want to walk out. My friend.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. Natural Born Killers. I think that's the movie my friends and I were like, I don't know.
I love that movie.
I can get down with it though, just because it's weird,
Yeah. I would be curious to watch that one now and see how that one sits with me.
Natural Born Killers.
Probably uncomfortable. Okay. Probably feels like you're have a fever.
Yeah, right.
That's probably why I didn't. Yeah.
Well, when you see, because you have to remember that the climax of that movie is a jailbreak.
Yeah,
and some
right.
wild fucking shit happens. They decapitate Tommy Lee Jones. Fucking RDJ goes tribal and joins them, and the whole thing's fucked. It's a very, very, very violent third act. But by today's standards, when you're looking at the news and you see shit like January 6th, it's like it almost tames that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the point of the movie, though, isn't it? Kind of a little bit glorifying violence and
right. But then seeing it, then it was taken to an extreme, right?
Right.
Yeah. But now
now it's reality,
so it's full circle.
It's crazy how desensitized we are. I think Walking Dead is the most violent show where it shows
it's on regular cable.
It's on cable. Are you kidding me? It's insane. But
so that was you said it right there, Pat, because it's when you're 75, 80-year-old great aunt is like, I watched The Walking Dead. It's a very good show. You're like, okay. Feeling way too open. You know what I mean? When my grandmother in Italy was watching Walker, Texas Ranger, I knew there was you know what I mean? The show, the thing permeated further than what it needed to.
I don't think I've walked out of one movie. Go back to what you were saying, Harry. I think I walked out of Lawnmower Man 2. I couldn't take it after 10 minutes.
Never walk out of a movie. Just go to sleep. Just take a nap.
Yeah.
Why waste the money walking out?
And then I walked out of that Dungeons and Dragons movie, the one that not the most recent one, but the one.
This one was good.
Damon Wayans was in.
Oh,
it came out. Okay. You know which one I'm talking about?
I think so.
Yeah, it was. I walked out of that one because we were having fun, making fun of it, but there was people that were actually enjoying it. So we're like, oh, let's go. We don't want to, disturb them.
Right. Yeah.
But one of the funniest movie walkouts that I was my friend John Cimino. He was watching Independence Day, the first one. And
Will Smith.
The second when Will Smith, when the alien crash lands, he opens the thing, he goes, "Welcome to Earth." He punches the alien in the face.
That was
my friend John's like, "Let's go."
He said,
"I can't do it."
Get my wife's name out your effing mouth.
Yeah,
I have a fond memory of seeing Independence Day in theaters. I went with my cousins took me when I was kind of too young, and I just remember going and playing the X-Men arcade game with them, and just my old cousins. They just kind of let you experience something you're kind of too young to see.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Awesome.
Are you wait, one last question. Are you also a big Shark Week fan, or?
I am, because my YouTube channel gets a big boost during Shark Week.
Does it really? I can imagine.
Right.
Yeah.
Have they ever featured you? They should feature.
No, I wanted to get it on there, but then no one never contacted me, which their loss, I guess. But
that would be great.
I think it would be so dope to have Pull Shark on Shark Week. Why not?
July 20th.
Yeah,
this one it is.
Yeah, it's too bad you didn't know anyone over there that could.
Trust me, I tried. Back in the day, I did try to get it on there, but
yeah. Do you still make films, Pat, or are you kind of done with that?
I don't know if I'll ever be done. I did make something maybe a year or two ago that we're still wrapping on.
Okay.
And that's going to be really fun to put out soon. And I have a feature film that I want to go back home to PA to make. And just make it really gritty, 10-day shoot, and just get it done. But it's a big undertaking, and it's can I rally the troops? So I do have a passion for movies still, and I really think Pop Scars will get turned into a movie by somebody. It probably won't be me, but I see Pop Scars being adapted as like a gritty indie movie at some point for sure.
I could see that being made into a film easily. Yeah.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, I think it would be super badass. I think the character, she would just kick ass on screen. But I love movies. I did kind of want to take a break and really give comics their due. And after 5 years into making comics, I need another 5 years because I have a lot more stories I want to get out. But I'd love to do some movies and maybe do a play or something. I just be creative, tell stories. I love making stuff, man.
Write the stories and try to figure out what's the best format for them. Does this work better as a comic, or is this a play, or is this a movie?
But I do have the bug of I need to make a horror movie someday. I have to.
Nice.
If I don't, I'll be really disappointed. So
yeah, you seem like a big horror fan, which I appreciate.
Yeah, it's the
I
best.
can play a corpse if
horror and kung fu. Horror and kung fu are
they're right next to neck and neck. I love that. Yeah. And then,
and that's why Big Trouble in Little China is such a fucking awesome movie.
It's the perfect blend.
The best. And are you gonna go back to IC3 next year?
I hope. That was kind of rough to do with a full-time job and the traveling, the table. I don't think I sold that many books to make it worth it. I loved meeting everybody. That was probably the best part, and that's really why I went, was to meet everybody and kind of feel the community. And for that reason alone, I would like to go back. But we have to see, because it's so hard, man. These conventions, you really have to sell an insane amount of books to make it worth it. So,
especially in your case, when you're flying and you got to get a hotel and all that stuff.
Although I'm going to be in California next month from the 15th to the 29th. We should try to connect.
Yeah, I would love to, man. If you want to meet up, cool. I would be so down. Yeah.
How far north are you from San Diego?
Probably 2 hours.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I can take a bus or something.
Not bad, but I could drive and meet you for sure. That would be fun.
Oh, either or. Yeah, we can make it work, man. Let's connect.
Yeah, that'd be rad. Cool. Okay, I'll message you.
You guys should do that.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then so let's start wrapping up here because we've been going so long.
Oh yeah, it's easy to talk to you guys. I can talk to you guys for hours.
Yeah, no, it's been
we could
awesome.
Shoot the shit forever, man. For real.
So first of all, let people know where they can get your books, because I saw that the campaign closed a week or two ago. But is there a place you send people to buy your books?
Yeah, punchpublishing.com. You could buy a copy, and I kind of just have Pop Scars for sale there. And I'm on Punch Publishing at Instagram, and I only do Instagram. But if you message me, that's actually me, and I'm happy to kind of talk about whatever, and that's where I kind of hang out. But
yeah, and you're pretty good. I messaged you there, and you were able to. I'm going to put your website here into the chat so people can go take a look.
Yeah,
and then follow Pat on Instagram, of course.
I still have a bunch of copies in my closet that I'm trying to sell. So
nice. Do you do a lot of cons in the California too, or?
I try to. It's just I'm still new to the convention stuff. The biggest problem I have with making comics is selling comics. I love making them, but the whole same problem I had with film is what do you do after you make it? And it's the distribution, the marketing. That's my Achilles heel. So I'm trying to figure it out. I'm trying to, get signings when I can.
You need a Flavor Flav. You need a hype man.
I need a hype man, or I need a badass chick to kind of champion the book and.
You need that cosplayer.
Yeah. So I'm doing my best, but it does feel like the Kickstarter was nice because I sold 70 books, but otherwise it's been one copy at a time kind of thing.
Yeah. Right.
So, we'll see how it goes. But
the struggle, right? That's a struggle, man.
Yeah, I'd love to. I would just love to make them if I didn't have to sell them. I would just keep.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you can make them and then they instantly go to some, a bunch of.
I mean, I guess that's getting published, but I feel like, Pop Scars was published as single issues. But it's, you give up a lot, and there's different hiccups and things like that when you get with a publisher too. So I think
one way, half dozen the other.
Yeah, so it's like
put a commercial of your comics in the Pool Shark movie.
That I did start putting my Pop Scar stuff on my YouTube channel. So we'll see how it's received.
Yeah, and you get a lot of followers on that. I thought it was
insane amount. I thought I could take a little bit more advantage of that, but dude, it's so hard to juggle all of life, be creative, do the job, have a relationship, do everything. It's
and then try to find time to do a show.
And some people do it really well. I kind of I still like my time to watch Dragon Ball Z and hang out. I don't want to always be working.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
But yeah, I do love it, and I appreciate you guys having me on and just pushing the book.
Yeah, absolutely.
It means a lot.
Like I said, I enjoyed all three. So
thank you.
You're a great creator, and I look forward to more, man.
Thank you. I'm gonna keep doing more. It's just I'll have to figure out how to sell them.
Yeah. Well, anything. We try to put out tips, but yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough, But everyone check out Punch Publishing. Check out Pat O Malley's work. Highly recommend Pop Scars, and then the Jurassic Parkour 4 if you're looking for a little more fun cartoon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles vibe. And and check them out on Instagram. We have the link in the chat for the Punch Publishing website. So check out his books there. All right, fellas, I think we're ready to wrap it up.
You guys did a marathon. I hope you guys go chill out after this. This is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I'm ready for bed, dude.
Yeah, right.
Keith's actually got a lot of packing to do. So I don't envy him.
Me and the wife are going on a little vacation tomorrow, so I haven't done anything.
Oh,
yet, so.
Before we wrap up, where are you going?
We're going just a Maine.
Nice.
Up to Maine, couple-hour ride for us, and
cool.
Just visiting parts of it that we've never been. So
that sounds cool.
Kind of low key, more nature kind of stuff.
I thought you were going to say you're going to Japan or something. I was going to be like,
I wish. I would love to go there one day.
Big shout out to Sheldon Martin, also in the chat, who watched for almost the majority of the show.
Yeah, Sheldon.
Thanks for hanging
out. Sheldon, I'm married, by the way.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
All right. Were you not married before?
Yeah, I've been married. Yeah, today's my 3-year anniversary actually. So I have to get out and go hang out with my wife.
Congrats, man.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all set. If you guys want to wrap it up, did you have anything else, Johnny, Harry?
Real. Just to follow up with Sheldon, he said he asked about if Toho made that Attack on Titan movie. It was actually Toho's technology that they utilized to make those Titans. In the new movies. So I had to Google that because I was like, I thought I heard that Toho made it, but it was actually Toho technology that they used. So to that point, I'm confident one day we will once again get Man in Suit.
And if they don't do it, I'm going to do it.
That would be awesome.
So Pat, think about that as a filmmaker. You don't need to make it Godzilla, but make it your Godzilla. Pat O'Malley's Pat O'Malley's kaiju creature.
I'm all for it.
When you want to work on that, I want to come work on that. You let me know.
Yeah, you're gonna wear the suit.
I'll wear the fucking suit, kid. I'll fucking do that shit. I will do that shit.
Thank you guys, though. This was awesome. I had a lot of fun.
We love
it was great.
I got something. I got something real quick before we go.
Sure.
It's a drawing that I want to share. I'm sharing my screen here. So 2 weeks ago, when we were last on, I tried giving my drawing to these the British guys, because they have a Mosquito Ink publishing or production company, or whatever. And no one seems to want it. So I drew the mosquito this weekend, yesterday actually. So I'll show it on here.
Let's take a look.
Logo that I want. There, you can see it. Am I showing it?
Nope.
Here it is. Yeah. Mosquito.
There's no quit.
That's great.
Because there is quit. Yeah, thank you. So I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but if anybody that has like a bug extermination company and they want to buy this as their logo, I'm listening.
I think that's good for an extermination company or a comic. There's a comic character right there.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, yeah, it could be.
Sure, dude.
Could be
a comic book character.
Oh, let me get out of this.
Let me. How do I?
Wow, I feel like we're in 7 levels of Inception.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. The only thing I wanted to share too is my my Kickstarter pre-launch page is up for Kid Switch 1 and 2, which is my next project, which is me continuing an old project.
Nice.
And that's here if you guys want to check it
Thanks
out.
for sharing that.
This is like Ben 10 meets Sliders.
Mm.
It's a kid finds a glove from one of the Dimensioneers, and his whole life is turned upside down. So
as it does. Yeah, this looks nice though.
Oh, thanks, man. Yeah, it's like my. I always one of the things I loved as for superheroes was I always loved the kid superheroes like Billy Batson or even Spider-Man was the quintessential like teenage superhero.
Totally, yeah.
And then I always loved stuff when they had like magic watches like Ben 10 or something like that, or some kind of weird device. So
I'm writing a story very loosely about kid superheroes, but it's totally messed up, and I'll share that with you guys soon.
Oh, nice! Can't wait to hear all about that one. That's
that
awesome.
one's messed up.
Like Brightburn kind of messed up.
Even more messed up, like more horror leaning. Yeah, it's called. I'll just tell you the name of it so far. It's called Hicksville Spider Boy.
Okay.
So that's intriguing.
Body horror, like
baby, yeah.
Yeah. I got arachnophobia, so I don't even know if I can fuck with that shit.
So do I. But for some reason, I love Spider-Man too. So
yeah, right on.
Yeah, you got to write like your fears, like some people do that. Yeah, Pat, if you don't end up going to IC3, definitely keep in touch with us, and
for sure.
When you have a new project coming up on the horizon, like if you're going to Kickstarter
I
or whatever,
hook you guys up.
Yeah. Reach out to me. Try to reach out to me a couple months ahead of time because we actually booked this show out so far. Like it's crazy,
usually 2 months in advance.
That's pretty awesome, though. I love it. I love it. This was really fun.
Thanks.
You guys
thanks for coming on, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Awesome.
Be in touch so we can get in touch next month.
Yeah. I'll message you.
Please do.
Yeah, perfect. All right, guys. We're gonna wrap this one up. Like, subscribe, all those things, and join us every other Monday for our live streams. And most importantly, read some comics.
Please.
All right, everybody. Have a great night, and we will talk to you later.
Be excellent to one another.
Thanks.